You do not have a weak English brain. You have an untrained English ear. That is why you can understand English lessons. But when native speakers talk fast, your mind freezes. The words are not new, but the sound feels different. You know the meaning, but you cannot catch it in real time and before your brain understands. One sentence, the speaker has already moved to the next. This book will change that the English. Your method will train you to stop translating. Hear real English, clearly understand fast speech. Catch spoken chunks and build the kind of listening power that makes English feel natural instead of confusing. So before we begin, subscribe to CTM English Podcast if you are serious about real fluency. And in the comments write, I will train my English ear. Do not just learn English with your eyes. From today, train your ear, train your brain, and make fast English finally. Feel easy now. Let us begin the English ear method. Chapter 1: Why English sounds clear in lessons, but disappears in real life. There is a strange pain many English learners never talk about honestly. When you are watching an English lesson, everything feels clear. The teacher speaks slowly, the words look familiar, the examples make sense. You feel confident for a moment and think, yes, I understand English now. But then you open a movie, a podcast, an interview, or you hear two native speakers talking naturally, and suddenly the same English becomes fast, messy, unclear, and almost impossible to catch. This moment can break a learner's confidence because it feels like betrayal. You studied the words, you learned the grammar, you practiced the sentences, you spent months or even years trying to improve. But when real English enters your ear, your brain freezes, your confidence drops, and a painful thought appears inside you. Maybe my English is still weak. But listen carefully, your English is not weak. Your ear is just not trained for real English yet. There is a big difference between lesson English and real English. Lesson English is clean, slow, and protected. Real English is alive, it moves, it connects. It cuts sounds, it changes words. It carries emotion, speed, rhythm, accent, stress, and natural flow. In lessons, English is often spoken for learners. In real life, English is spoken for communication. That is why your brain feels safe in lessons, but feels lost in real conversations. A teacher may clearly say, what are you going to do? But in real speech, it may sound like, what are you going to do? A teacher may clearly say, I want to go, but real English may sound like, I want to go. A teacher may clearly say, did you eat? But in conversation, it may sound like, do you eat? The words are not new, but the sound is different. And if your ear was trained only through clean English, real English will feel like another language. This is the hidden reason you understand English with your eyes but struggle with your ears. Your eyes recognize written English. Your mind understands grammar. Your memory knows vocabulary, but your ear has not yet learned how English changes when real people speak naturally. So the problem is not that you do not know English. The problem is that your brain cannot recognize the spoken shape of English fast enough. This is why subtitles feel easy, but listening without subtitles feels hard. Subtitles give your eyes time to help your brain, but real listening gives you no pause. The speaker does not wait while you translate. The conversation does not stop while you search for meaning. English keeps moving, and if your ear cannot catch the sound quickly, your mind starts chasing from behind. From today, stop blaming yourself. Stop saying, I am bad at listening. Stop saying native speakers speak too fast. Start saying, my English ear needs training. This one sentence changes everything because it takes you out of shame and puts you into practice. It reminds you that listening is not a talent given to lucky people. Listening is a skill built through the right method. The first secret of the English ear method is this: fast English becomes clear when your ear learns the sound patterns of real English. You do not need to understand every word separately. You need to recognize chunks, rhythm reductions, and meaning as one flow. When your ear begins to hear English this way, the speed becomes less frightening. The sound begins to separate, sentences begin to open. Real English stops feeling like noise and starts becoming meaning. So before you move forward, remember this deeply. You're not starting from zero, you already have English. Inside you, you have words, you have grammar, you have understanding. Now you must train the doorway through which real English enters. Your brain, that doorway is your ear. And once your ear becomes stronger, everything changes. The words you already know begin to appear in real speech. The phrases you once missed begin to sound familiar. The conversations that once scared you begin to feel possible. This is the beginning of your new listening journey. Not more fear, not more shame, not more confusion. From this chapter onward, you're not just learning English anymore. You are training your ear to understand English in real life. Chapter 2. Stop translating sound into your language. One of the biggest reasons fast English feels impossible is not because the speaker is too fast, and not because your brain is too slow. The real reason is that your mind is trying to do too many jobs at the same time. First, your ear hears the English sound. Then your brain tries to catch the words. Then your mind tries to translate those words into your own language. Then it tries to understand the meaning. Then it tries to prepare a response. But while your brain is doing all of this, the speaker has already moved forward, and suddenly, you are no longer listening to the present sentence. You are stuck behind, trying to understand something that has already passed. This is why translation is dangerous for listening. Translation may help you when you are reading, because reading gives you time you can stop, go back. Check a word, think about grammar, and understand slowly. But listening is different. Listening moves in real time. Spoken English does not wait for your translation. Real conversation does not pause while your brain searches for meaning. When you translate, you are always one step late. And when you are one step late, fast English begins to feel like pressure. Many learners think translation is a safe bridge, but in listening, translation often becomes a wall. It blocks the direct connection between English sound and English meaning. You hear the sentence, but instead of understanding it directly, your mind sends it through another language first. That extra step is what makes you tired. That extra step is what makes you panic. That extra step is what makes you lose the next sentence. Imagine someone says, "I'm running late at train." English ear does not stop and translate each word. It instantly understands the situation. This person is late but untrained. Ear may hear the sentence and start thinking, running means running with legs. Late means not on time. What does this mean together? By the time the brain understands, the speaker has already said another sentence. This is how translation destroys listening speed. The goal of the English ear method is to train your brain to understand English directly without passing through your first language. When you hear that makes sense, your brain should immediately feel the meaning. When you hear "I see what you mean," your brain should instantly understand the idea. When you hear "let me think about it," your mind should not break it into grammar. It should understand the whole phrase as one message. This is how fluent listeners understand English. They do not translate every word, they recognize meaning instantly because they have heard the same sounds and phrases. Many times their brain has built strong connections between English sound and English meaning. Your brain can build the same connections, but it needs training, repetition, and patience. The first step is to stop forcing yourself to understand every word in your own language. When you listen to English, do not ask what is the translation. Ask what is the meaning. These two questions are not the same. Translation turns English into another language. Meaning keeps English inside English. Translation makes your brain slow. Meaning makes your brain direct. For example, when you hear "I'm not sure," do not translate it word by word, feel the meaning. The person is uncertain. When you hear "it depends," do not translate it, feel the meaning. The answer changes based on the situation. When you hear "I'll get back to you," do not translate every word. Feel the meaning. The person will reply later. This is direct listening at first. This may feel difficult because your brain has a habit of translating, but habits can be changed. Every time you hear a common English phrase and understand it directly, your translation habit becomes weaker. Every time you repeat a phrase with meaning, your English brain becomes stronger. Every time you listen without forcing translation, you teach your mind that English can be understood inside English. A powerful practice is meaning repetition. Take one short sentence and repeat it many times while feeling the meaning. For example, say, "I know what you mean." Do not translate it. Imagine a real situation where someone explains something and you understand them. Say it again with feeling. "I know what you mean." Listen to it, repeat it, feel it. This practice trains your ear and brain together. Another practice is picture listening. When you hear a sentence, try to create a small picture in your mind. Instead of translating it, if you hear, "She walked into the room," see the action. If you hear, "He forgot his keys," see the situation. If you hear, "They were talking about the meeting," imagine the people talking. Pictures are faster than translation. Meaning is faster than translation. Feeling is faster than translation. You must understand, this deeply English fluency is not built by translating. Faster English fluency is built by translating less. Many learners keep trying to become fast translators, but that is not the real goal. The real goal is to become a direct listener. A direct listener hears English and understands English without needing permission from another language. This is why children learn naturally. They do not translate, they connect sound with meaning. When they hear come here, they understand the action. When they hear sit down, they understand the movement. When they hear be careful, they understand the warning. They do not analyze grammar first. They connect sound to real life. As an adult learner, you can train the same ability. But you must stop treating every English sentence like a puzzle. Do not worry if you cannot. Stop translating immediately. Translation is a habit that has been built over many years, so it will not disappear in one day. But it will become weaker when you practice the right way. Start with common phrases. Listen to them many times, repeat them aloud. Use them in small situations. Connect them with meaning slowly. Your brain will stop asking for translation because it will already understand. This is the turning point when your brain starts understanding common phrases directly. Fast English becomes less scary. You no longer need to catch every single word. You begin to catch meaning. You begin to understand the speaker's intention. You begin to stay with the conversation. Instead of falling behind, your ear becomes quicker because your mind is no longer wasting energy translating. Remember this rule: translation makes you chase English, but direct meaning lets you walk with English. When you translate, English is always ahead of you. When you understand directly, English is beside you. You are present, you are calm. You are listening in real time. So from today, train yourself with this simple command. Hear English, feel meaning, do not translate. Hear English, feel meaning, do not translate. Hear English, feel meaning, do not translate. This is not only a practice, this is a new way of listening. The learner who depends on translation will always feel tired in fast conversation. But the learner who trains direct understanding will slowly become calm, sharp, and confident. Your ear will catch more, your brain will panic less, your response will become faster. And one day you will realize that English is no longer entering your mind as a foreign code. It is entering as meaning. That is the power of the English ear method. It does not teach you to translate English faster. It teaches you to stop needing translation at all. Chapter 3: Train your ear to hear chunks, not single words. One of the biggest secrets of understanding fast English is this: fluent listeners do not listen to English word by word. They listen to English in chunks. This one idea can change your whole listening journey, because many learners are struggling not because they do not know English, but because they are trying to catch every single word separately. They listen like they are picking stones, one by one from the ground, while native speakers are speaking in flowing groups of meaning. By the time the learner catches one word, the speaker has already moved through the whole sentence, and the brain becomes tired, confused, and late. Fast English becomes painful when your ear is trying to separate everything. You hear a sentence, and your mind starts chasing individual words. What was that word? What did he say? Did she say can or can't? Was that going to or gonna? Was that want to or wanna? While your brain is busy fighting one small sound, the rest of the message disappears. This is why many learners say, I understood some words, but I missed the meaning. They caught pieces, but they missed the whole picture. Real English does not come to your ear like a list of separate words. Real English comes in sound groups. These sound groups are called chunks. A chunk is a small group of words that works together like one meaning. For example, when someone says, I don't know what you mean, a fluent listener does not hear every word separately. Like, I don't know what you mean. The fluent listener hears the whole phrase as one meaning. I do not understand your point. The ear catches the group. The brain understands the idea, and the conversation continues smoothly. This is why chunks are so powerful. They reduce pressure. They make listening faster. They help your brain understand meaning without needing to analyze every word. When your ear learns chunks, English stops sounding like random noise and starts sounding like familiar patterns. You begin to recognize phrases before you fully think about them. You hear at the end of the day, and you instantly understand that the speaker is about to summarize a final truth. You hear to be honest with you, and you instantly understand the speaker is preparing to say something direct. You hear I was just about to, and your brain expects an action that almost happened. This is how advanced listening works. Fluent speakers speak in patterns, and fluent listeners hear in patterns. Beginners listen for words. Advanced learners listen for meaning groups. This is why someone can know thousands of English words and still struggle in conversation, while another learner with fewer words can understand better because their ear knows common spoken chunks. Vocabulary alone is not enough. Your ear must know how words live together in real speech. Think about your own language. You do not listen to every word separately. You recognize common phrases automatically when someone speaks. Your brain does not stop and analyze each word. You understand the whole idea because you have heard those patterns thousands of times. English must become the same. The goal is not to force your brain to become a machine that catches every word. The goal is to train your ear to recognize common English patterns so quickly that meaning appears naturally. Let us look at a simple example. A learner may know the words, "What do you want to and do?" and "do." But when a native speaker says, "What do you want to do?" it may sound like, "What do you want to do?" The learner becomes confused because the written words and the spoken chunk do not sound the same. But a trained ear does not panic. It recognizes the whole sound as one common question. It does not need to separate every piece. It hears the chunk and understands the meaning. This is the difference between knowing English on paper and hearing English in real life. On paper, words look separate. In real speech, words join hands, they connect. They reduce, they blend. They move together. Your ear must learn this movement. If your ear only expects textbook pronunciation, real English will always feel too fast. But once your ear learns the common chunks, fast English begins to slow down inside your brain. The learner who listens word by word is always under pressure because every sentence feels like a test, but the learner who listens for chunks feels calmer because the brain is collecting meaning in groups instead of catching 10 separate words. The brain catches 2 or 3 meaningful pieces. This is much easier. This is how your listening becomes faster without forcing yourself to listen harder. For example, listen to these chunks as complete ideas. I see what you mean. That makes sense. Let me think about it. I was about to say that I don't feel like it. It depends on the situation. That's not what I meant. I'm not sure about that. These are not just sentences. These are listening tools. When your ear hears them again and again, your brain begins to recognize them automatically. In real conversations, this is why memorizing isolated vocabulary is not enough. If you memorize the word depend, you know one word. But if you learn the chunk, it depends, you can understand and use a real spoken phrase. If you memorize the word mean, you know one word. But if you learn, what do you mean and I know what you mean, your listening becomes more useful. If you memorize the word about, you know one small word. But if you learn I was about to, you understand a powerful real-life pattern. Your English ear becomes stronger when you feed it real chunks, not dead vocabulary. Words are like bricks, but chunks are like ready-made walls. When you only collect bricks, you still need time to build meaning. But when you collect chunks, your brain receives meaning already shaped. This is why chunks make your listening faster and your speaking smoother at the same time. Many learners ask, how can I understand native speakers when they speak so fast? The answer is not only to listen more, the answer is to listen differently. Stop trying to catch every word. Start training your ear to catch the important groups. In every sentence, there are words that carry meaning and words that support meaning. Your ear must learn to focus on the meaning groups, not panic over every small sound. For example, if someone says, I was going to call you, but I completely forgot, you do not need to catch every tiny sound perfectly. You need to catch the chunks. I was going to call you and I completely forgot. That is the message. If you miss a small word like but, your brain can still understand because the chunks give you the meaning. But if you are fighting every single word, you may miss the whole sentence. This is a powerful shift. Listening is not about perfection. Listening is about meaning. Many learners lose confidence because they think they must understand 100% of the words, but even native speakers do not always catch every sound perfectly in noisy environments. They understand because their brain predicts meaning from patterns. They hear chunks, context, tone, and rhythm. You must train the same ability. Context is your friend. Chunks become stronger when your brain connects them with situations. If you hear, can I get in a cafe? Your brain expects an order. If you hear, I'm looking for in a store, your brain expects someone searching for something. If you hear the reason why in a conversation, your brain expects an explanation. This is how chunks help your brain predict what is coming next. Prediction makes listening faster the strongest. Listeners are not only hearing the present word, their brain is already expecting the next possible idea. This is not guessing blindly, this is pattern recognition. When someone says, I don't know if your brain expects a choice, doubt, or uncertainty. When someone says the thing is your brain expects the main point. When someone says, as far as I know, your brain expects limited knowledge, these chunks. Prepare your mind before the sentence is finished. This is why chunk training feels like magic after some time. At first, English sounds fast. Then you begin to recognize common openings. Then you begin to expect common endings. Then you begin to hear sentences as complete movements. Slowly your brain stops reacting with fear and starts listening with confidence. You are not lost anymore because the road starts looking familiar. Now understand something very important. Chunks are not only for listening. Chunks are also the bridge to speaking. When you know a chunk deeply, you can use it quickly. You do not need to build a sentence from zero. You already have a natural phrase ready in your mind. This is why fluent speakers respond faster. They are not creating every sentence word by word. They are using thousands of ready-made chunks that their brain has stored through repetition. If someone asks, do you agree, a learner who thinks word by word may freeze because they are building a sentence slowly. But a learner with chunks can quickly say, I agree with you to some extent, or I see your point but I'm not sure, or that makes sense but I think there's another side. These phrases are not difficult. When they are trained as chunks, they become automatic. This is why the English ear method is not only about hearing English, it is about building a complete English system. Inside your brain, your ear hears chunks your brain understands. Chunks your mouth speaks, chunks your confidence grows because English becomes less heavy. You are no longer carrying grammar rules one by one. You are moving with natural language patterns. To train your ear with chunks, choose a short piece of English audio. Do not start with a long movie or a difficult podcast. Start with 1 minute, listen once without subtitles. Then listen again and notice repeated phrases. Do not write every word, write useful chunks. Maybe you hear, I think it's important to. One of the biggest reasons. I'm not saying that or at the same time. These are golden pieces. These are the phrases your ear needs. After you collect 3 or 5 chunks, listen again and focus only on those chunks. Notice how they sound in real speech. Notice if words connect. Notice if some sounds become weak. Notice which word is stressed. Then repeat the chunk aloud exactly like the speaker. Do not say it slowly like reading. Say it with the same rhythm. This is where your ear and mouth begin to work together. For example, take the chunk, I don't know what you mean. First understand the meaning, then listen to how it sounds naturally. It may not sound like 6 perfect words. It may flow together. Repeat it until your mouth can say it smoothly. Then create small situations in your mind. Someone explains something unclear, and you say, I don't know what you mean. Someone gives a strange answer, and you say, I don't know what you mean. Now the chunk is not only memorized, it is alive. This is how you should learn English. Do not collect words like museum objects. Collect chunks like tools you can use in real life. A word alone may sit in your memory for years without helping you speak, but a chunk can enter your listening and speaking immediately. It has rhythm, it has meaning. It has situation, it has power. Another strong practice is chunk shadowing. Instead of shadowing a whole long paragraph, shadow one chunk many times, hear it, pause. Repeat it, hear it again, repeat it with emotion. Then say it without audio. Then use it in a new sentence. This makes the chunk part of your English brain. The more chunks you train this way, the more natural English becomes. You must also learn to accept unclear small words. Many learners get stuck because they want every small word to be clear, but in fast English, small words often become weak. Words like to, of, and for. You are and do may sound soft, reduced, or connected. If your brain panics over every small word, listening becomes stressful. Instead, focus on the chunk and meaning. The small words will become clearer over time as your ear improves. For example, a lot of may sound like a lotta. Kind of may sound like kinda. Going to may sound like gonna. Wanna may sound like wanna. Have to may sound like have to. These are not mistakes, these are normal spoken forms. A trained English ear does not fight them. It recognizes them as common sound patterns. This is why learners who only study formal English sometimes feel shocked by real English. They expect every word to sound exactly. as it is written, but spoken English has its own rules. The page shows you spelling. The mouth gives you sound. The ear must learn the sound. Once your ear knows these common spoken chunks, you will stop feeling that native speakers are hiding words from you. You will realize they are simply speaking with natural flow. The most powerful thing about chunk listening is that it gives you confidence quickly. When you begin recognizing even a few common chunks, your brain starts feeling progress. You listen to a video and suddenly hear, to be honest, I don't think so at the same time. You know what I mean, and you feel a spark inside you. You realize, I can hear this, that spark matters. Because confidence is built through evidence. Every recognized chunk becomes evidence that your ear is improving. Do not underestimate small progress. One chunk today may not feel like much, but one chunk every day becomes 30 chunks in a month. 30 chunks become hundreds in a year. And when your brain knows hundreds of spoken chunks, English listening becomes completely different. You are no longer facing a wall of sound. You are walking through familiar doors. There will come a time when you hear English and your brain starts catching meaning automatically. You will not understand everything, but you will understand enough to stay calm. You will hear common phrases without effort. You will feel the rhythm. You will predict the direction. You will stop translating every word. You will start listening like a real English thinker. This is the moment the English ear method is training you for, not the moment when every word is perfect, but the moment when English stops feeling like pressure, the moment when your ear becomes strong enough to stay with the speaker, the moment when your brain stops chasing and starts receiving, the moment when spoken English becomes a flow of meaning instead of a storm of random sounds. So from today, change your listening goal. Do not say, I must understand every word. Say, I will recognize more chunks every day. Do not say native speakers are too fast. Say, my ear is learning real spoken patterns. Do not say, I am bad at listening. Say, I am training my English ear to hear meaning groups. This new mindset will protect your confidence. It will stop you from judging yourself too quickly. It will remind you that listening is not a test of your intelligence. Listening is a training of your recognition system. The more your ear recognizes, the more your brain understands. The more your brain understands, the more your mouth can speak. And the more your mouth speaks, the more English becomes yours. At the end of this chapter, remember this golden rule. Words are important, but chunks are faster. Words give you knowledge, but chunks give you fluency. Words help you study English, but chunks help you live inside English if you want to understand. Fast English without translating. Train your ear to hear chunks first. Because when your ear catches chunks, your brain catches meaning. And when your brain catches meaning, English finally begins to feel natural. Chapter 4. Learn the hidden music of English. If you want to understand fast English, you must understand one truth that most learners ignore. English is not spoken like it is written. English is not only words placed in order. English is sound, rhythm, stress, emotion, speed, and music. When learners study English only through books, subtitles, grammar rules, and written sentences, they often believe that every word should sound clear, equal, and separate. But real English does not work like that. Real English moves like music. Some words become strong, some words become weak. Some sounds disappear, some sounds connect. Some sentences rise like a question, and some fall like a final decision. Until your ear learns this hidden music, fast English will always feel harder than it really is. Many learners make the same mistake. They listen to native speakers and think they are speaking too fast. But sometimes the problem is not speed. The problem is rhythm. The speaker may not be speaking extremely fast, but because the words are connected and the weak sounds are reduced, your ear cannot separate the meaning. It feels fast because your brain is trying to hear every word with full pronunciation. But native speakers do not give every word full pronunciation. They speak with natural stress and flow. Your ear is waiting for textbook English, but real English is arriving like spoken music. This is why you may understand the sentence when you read it, but miss it when you hear it on paper. The sentence, I'm going to talk to him about it, looks simple. You know all the words, but in real speech, it may sound closer to I'm going to talk to him about it. And the small words may move quickly, the sound changes. The rhythm changes the words. Connect your eyes can understand the written sentence, but your ear must be trained to understand the spoken shape. This is why listening is not only vocabulary. Listening is sound recognition plus rhythm recognition. English has a heartbeat. That heartbeat is stress. In English, not all words receive the same energy. Important words are usually stressed because they carry meaning less. Important words are often reduced because they support the sentence. This is one of the biggest secrets of English listening. If your ear is trying to hear every word equally, you will struggle. But when your ear learns to follow the stressed words, meaning becomes clearer. You stop chasing every tiny sound and start following the main message. For example, in the sentence, I really need to talk to you, the words that carry the strongest meaning may be really, me talk and you. The smaller words move quickly around them. A learner may try to catch every piece equally, but a fluent listener catches the important beats. The sentence has music, I really need to talk to you. The stressed words guide the meaning. Once your ear learns to hear stress, English becomes less like noise and more like a pattern. This is why English can feel strange to learners whose first language gives more equal stress to words. English is stress-timed. This means the language moves from one strong beat to the next. The weak sounds between the strong beats often become shorter, softer, or faster. This is why English sometimes feels like it is jumping. Native speakers are not trying to make it difficult. They are following the natural rhythm of the language. Your job is not to fight that rhythm. Your job is to train your ear to write it. Think of English like a song. In a song, some notes are strong. Some are soft, some are long, some are short. And the beauty comes from movement. If every note had the same strength, the song would sound robotic. English is the same. If you pronounce every word with equal power, your speaking may sound unnatural. And if you expect every word to be equally clear when listening, your understanding will be slow. The hidden music of English is what makes it natural. And once your ear hears that music, your listening becomes faster. This is why learners should not only ask, what did the speaker say? They should also ask, how did the speaker say it? This question is powerful. It moves your attention from written English to spoken English. It teaches your ear to notice stress, rhythm, linking, reductions, tone, pauses, and emotion. These are not small details. These are the real signals that make spoken English understandable. Let us take the phrase, what do you want to do? In written form, it is simple. But in natural speech, it may become, what do you want to do? A learner who only knows written English may feel lost. But a learner who understands English music knows that deep and connect. 1 to 2 can become wanna, and the whole phrase can move as one rhythm. The ear stops finding the sound and starts recognizing the pattern. This is how real listening improves. Now think about the phrase, I have to go. In careful speech, every word may be clear, but in natural speech, have to often sounds like have to, so the sentence may sound like I have to go. If your ear is waiting for the full sound, have to, you may miss it. But if your ear knows the spoken rhythm, it understands immediately. The same thing happens with going to becoming, gonna, wanna becoming, wanna, kind of becoming, kinda, a lot of becoming, a loda, and let me becoming, let me. These are not wrong English, these are common spoken forms. Many learners feel disappointed when they discover this because they think, why did no one teach me this before? They studied grammar for years, but nobody trained their ear for real speech. They learned how English is written, but not how English is heard. They memorized words, but not sound changes. They practiced sentences, but not rhythm. This is why the English ear method focuses on the ear. Not only the eyes, your eyes can help you learn, but your ear must help you understand real life. The hidden music of English also includes linking. Linking means that the end of one word connects with the beginning of the next word. Native speakers do not usually stop after every word. They connect words to keep speech smooth. For example, turn off may sound like turn off. Pick it up may sound like pick it up. An old friend may sound like an old friend. I need it may sound like I need it. When you know linking in English, stops sounding like a fast river of unknown sounds and starts becoming a connected stream you can follow. This is very important because many learners think they are missing words, but sometimes the words are not missing. They are connected. Your ear does not recognize them because it expects separation. When a native speaker says, did you see it? It may sound like, did you see it? If your ear expects did you as two clear words, you may miss it. But once your ear learns that did you often becomes did ya, the phrase becomes clear. The same sound that once confused you becomes familiar. This is how listening changes. At first, everything sounds fast and unclear. Then you learn one pattern. Suddenly that pattern appears everywhere. You hear gonna in videos. You hear wanna in conversations. You hear have to in interviews. You hear déjà in questions. You realize real English has patterns. It is not random, it is not impossible, it is trainable. This realization gives you confidence because the problem no longer feels mysterious. You know what to train. Another part of English music is reduction. Reduction means some words become weaker in natural speech. Small grammar words often become soft because they are not the main meaning. Words like to, for, of, and are, you, do, have, and that may be reduced depending on the sentence. This is why you may not hear them clearly. The speaker is not hiding them. The language is simply giving more energy to the important words and less energy to the small support words. For example, I'm going to the store may not sound like every word is strong. The word to may become very weak. The sentence flows towards store because that is the important destination. And she's looking for a job. The word for may becomes softer because the main meaning is looking, and job. Your ear must learn to follow the strong words and accept that weak words may not sound full. This is not failure, this is real listening. When learners do not know reduction, they panic. They think I missed a word, so I missed the sentence. But a trained listener knows that not every word needs equal attention. The meaning often lives in the stressed words and chunks. If you catch the strong words, context helps you fill the rest. This is how fluent listening works. It is not perfect word collection. It is meaning recognition through sound, rhythm, context, and expectation. Tone is another part of English music. Tone shows attitude. The same words can mean different things depending on how they are said. A person can say that's great with real happiness, or they can say that's great with sarcasm. The words are the same, but the music is different. A person can say I'm fine and truly mean they are okay, or they can say I'm fine in a cold way that means something is wrong. If your ear only listens to words, you may miss the real message. If your ear listens to tone, you understand more deeply. This is very important for advanced listening because real communication is not only information, it is emotion. People do not speak like robots, they speak with feeling, mood, hesitation, confidence, anger, excitement, tiredness, and uncertainty. Your ear must learn to hear those signals. Sometimes the tone tells you more than the words. Sometimes the pause tells you more than the sentence. Sometimes the stress on one word changes the meaning completely. For example, listen to the sentence, I didn't say he stole the money. If the speaker stresses, it means someone else may have said it. If the speaker stresses say, it means they may have implied it but did not say it directly. If the speaker stresses he, it means someone else stole it. If the speaker stresses money, it means he may have stolen something else. The words are the same, but the meaning changes through stress. This is the power of English music. Most learners focus only on vocabulary, but stress can change meaning without changing vocabulary. This is why you must train your ear to hear which word is strong. In real conversations, stress is like a flashlight. It shows you where the speaker wants your attention. When you learn to follow that flashlight, listening becomes easier and deeper. Pauses are also part of the music. Native speakers do not pause only at the end of written sentences. They pause when thinking, emphasizing changing ideas or creating emotion. A pause can show hesitation. A pause can create suspense. A pause can separate ideas. A pause can make one word feel powerful. If you ignore pauses, you may miss the structure of speech, but if you listen to pauses, you can understand how the speaker organizes their thoughts. For example, someone may say the problem is we waited too long. That pause tells you something important is coming. Someone may say, I wanted to help, but I didn't know how. The pause shows hesitation or emotion. Someone may say, listen, this is important. The pause creates attention. These small moments are not empty, they are a part of communication. A trained English ear hears them. This is why English listening must become active. You are not only receiving words, you are reading sound, you are hearing stress, you are feeling rhythm, you are noticing tone. You are following chunks, you are predicting meaning. This may sound like a lot, but with training, it becomes automatic, just like driving a car feels difficult at first because you must think about everything. Listening to real English feels difficult at first because your brain is learning many signals, but with practice, the signals become natural. The best way to train the hidden music of English is not to listen passively for hours. Passive listening can help, but active listening changes your ear faster. Choose one sure audio. Listen first for meaning. Then listen again only for stress. Ask yourself which words are strong. Then listen again only for weak sounds. Ask which words became soft. Then listen again for linking. Ask where did two words connect. Then listen again for tone. Ask how does the speaker feel. This is deep listening. Most learners never listen this way, they listen once, feel confused and move to another video. But that does not train the ear deeply. The ear needs repetition with attention. 1 minute of audio study deeply can teach you more than 30 minutes of random listening, because deep listening teaches your brain how English works. Random listening only exposes you to sound, but deep listening trains recognition. Another powerful practice is music shadowing. In normal shadowing, you repeat the words in music. Shadowing, you copy the rhythm. Before you even worry about perfect words, you listen to one sentence and copy the rise fall, stress, and speed. You almost treat the sentence like a melody. Even if your pronunciation is not perfect, copying the rhythm trains your ear and mouth to move with English. This is one of the fastest ways to sound more natural and understand more naturally. For example, take the sentence, I don't really know what you mean. Do not say every word with equal force. Listen to the music, maybe the speaker stresses really no and mean the small words move around those strong beats. Repeat it with the same flow. I don't really know what you mean. When you copy this rhythm again and again, your mouth learns natural English, and your ear becomes better at recognizing it when others speak. This is why listening and speaking are connected. A learner who trains only silent listening may understand more, but their speaking may still sound stiff. A learner who trains rhythm through shadowing improves both skills. The ear hears the music, the mouth copies the music. The brain stores the pattern. Later, when the same rhythm appears in conversation, the ear recognizes it faster. This is how the system grows. You must also understand that pronunciation is not only about sounding good. Pronunciation is also listening training. When you learn how sounds are produced, you can hear them better. If you know that T can sound different in American English depending on position, you will not panic when water sounds different from the spelling. If you know that words can connect across boundaries, you will not be shocked when it sounds like one unit. Speaking practice sharpens listening because the mouth teaches the ear what to expect. This is a powerful truth. Your ear understands better what your mouth has practiced. If your mouth has practiced I wanna, your ear will recognize I wanna faster. If your mouth has practiced DJ, your ear will recognize it faster. If your mouth has practiced natural stress, your ear will follow stress faster. This is why the English ear method does not keep listening and speaking separate. They are two sides of the same brain training. Now let us talk about why fast English begins to slow down when you learn rhythm. The speaker may not actually slow down. Their speed may remain the same, but your brain feels less pressure because it knows where to listen. Before rhythm training, every sound feels equally important, so your brain becomes overloaded. After rhythm training, your brain follows the strong words, recognizes chunks, accepts reductions, and uses context. The load becomes lighter. The same English feels slower because your ear has become smarter. This is like listening to a song you know well. The first time you hear it, the words may feel fast. After hearing it many times, you can follow the melody, predict the next line, and recognize the rhythm. The song did not slow down. Your brain became familiar with it. English works the same way. Familiar rhythm creates listening speed. This is why repeated listening is so powerful. When you repeat the same audio, your ear begins to notice details it missed before. The first time you may only understand the topic. The second time you catch more words. The third time you notice stress. The fourth time you hear linking. The fifth time you begin to feel the rhythm. The 10th time the audio feels much easier. The speaker did not change, your ear changed. Many learners avoid repetition because they think it is boring. But repetition is how music enters the body. A song becomes familiar because you hear it again and again. A phrase becomes natural because you hear it again and again. A rhythm becomes automatic because you copy it again and again. If you want fast English to become easy, you must stop treating repetition like a punishment and start treating it like training. Another reason English music matters is that it helps you understand different accents. Every accent has its own sound, but English, stress, and rhythm often help you follow meaning, even when pronunciation changes. If you only listen for perfect textbook sounds, accents will confuse you. But if you listen for meaning groups, stress, tone, and rhythm, you become more flexible. You learn to understand real people, not only perfect classroom speakers. This is very important because real English is global. You may hear American English, British English, Australian English, Indian English, Pakistani English, African English, and many other forms. If your ear is too narrow, you will struggle. But if your ear is trained for rhythm chunks and meaning, you become stronger across accents. You stop demanding that everyone sound like one teacher. You start understanding English as a living language. Do not misunderstand this chapter. The goal is not to copy native speakers perfectly or lose your identity. The goal is to understand real English and speak clearly with natural flow. You do not need to sound exactly like someone else. You need an ear that can recognize real speech and a voice that can communicate with confidence. The hidden music of English is not about pretending to be someone else. It is about training your brain to hear English as it truly lives. When your ear learns the music of English, something beautiful happens. You begin to enjoy listening. Instead of feeling attacked by speed, you start noticing patterns. You hear a phrase connect and think, I know that. You hear a reduction and think, I recognize this. You hear stress and understand the speaker's meaning more deeply. Listening becomes less fearful and more interesting. This emotional change matters because confidence grows. When fear goes down, a fearful listener closes. A curious listener opens. When you are afraid, your brain becomes tight. It tries to catch everything, and because it cannot, it panics. But when you become curious about sound, your brain relaxes. You start asking, what pattern is this? Which words are stressed? What is the speaker's tone? Which chunk did I hear? Curiosity turns listening into discovery. So from today, do not only listen for words, listen for music. Listen for the strong words that carry the message. Listen for the weak words that move quickly. Listen for the chunks that flow together. Listen for the linking that joins words. Listen for the reductions that make spoken English natural. Listen for the tone that reveals feeling. Listen for the pauses that shape meaning. This is how your English ear becomes powerful. Your daily practice can be simple. Choose a short sentence from real English. Listen to it 5 times. The first time, understand the general meaning. The second time, mark the stressed words. The third time, notice the weak sounds. The fourth time, copy the rhythm with your voice. The fifth time, close your eyes and listen. Again until the sentence feels natural. This kind of practice may look small, but it builds a strong ear. If you do this every day, your listening will not remain the same. You will begin to hear what you could not hear before. You will stop feeling that native speakers are swallowing everything. You will understand that spoken English has structure. You will feel the rhythm behind the speed. You will catch meaning faster because your ear is no longer trying to force written English into spoken English. It is finally learning spoken English as sound. Remember this golden lesson. English becomes clear when your ear stops fighting the music and starts following it. The rhythm is not your enemy. The reductions are not your enemy. The linking is not your enemy. The speed is not your enemy. These are the natural features of spoken English. Once your ear learns them the same fast, English that once confused you begins to feel possible. At the end of this chapter, I want you to carry one powerful sentence in your mind. Fast English is not just speed, fast English is rhythm. If you train only vocabulary, you will know words. If you train only grammar, you will know rules. But if you train rhythm, stress, linking, reductions, and tone, you will begin to hear real English. And when you hear real English, you can finally understand real people. This is the hidden music of English. It has been there all along. You were not failing, you were simply not trained to hear it, but now you know. Now you can practice differently. Now you can listen deeper. Now you can train your ear, not only to catch words, but to feel the movement of English. And once your ear learns the music, fast English will no longer sound like a wall. It will begin to sound like a road. Chapter 5. Use repetition until fast English becomes familiar. Most English learners are not failing because they do not listen enough. They are failing because they listen in the wrong way. They keep jumping from one video to another, one podcast to another, one lesson to another, one accent to another, thinking that more content will automatically create fluency. They believe that if they consume thousands of English videos, their brain will suddenly become fluent, but the truth is deeper than that. Listening once to many things gives your ear exposure, but listening many times to the right thing gives your ear training. Exposure shows your brain that English exists, but repetition teaches your brain how English works. This is one of the biggest turning points in the English ear method. You must stop treating English listening like entertainment and start treating it like training. Entertainment says, I heard it once, now give me something new. Training says, I will listen again until my ear catches what it missed. Entertainment gives temporary motivation. Training creates permanent change. Entertainment makes you feel busy. Training makes you better. If you truly want to understand fast English without translating, you must build a relationship with repetition, because repetition is the bridge between confusion and familiarity. The first time you hear real English, your brain is under pressure. It is trying to catch sounds, recognize words, understand meaning, follow rhythm. Notice stress and control panic, all at the same time. That is a heavy job. This is why the first listening often feels difficult. You may understand only a few words. You may catch the topic but miss the details. You may hear familiar vocabulary but fail to recognize it in natural speed. This does not mean you are weak. It only means the sound is still new to your ear. But the second time you listen, something changes. Your brain is no longer completely surprised. It knows the topic. It remembers some sounds. It expects some phrases. It catches more. The third time, more words begin to separate. The fourth time, chunks begin to appear. The fifth time, rhythm begins to feel familiar. After many repetitions, the same audio that once felt fast begins to feel slower. But the speaker has not slowed down. Your ear has become faster. This is the secret most learners never understand. Fast English becomes easy when it becomes familiar. Your brain does not need English to be slow forever. Your brain needs enough repetition to recognize the sound patterns quickly. When a phrase is unfamiliar, even slow English can feel hard. But when a phrase is familiar, even fast English can feel clear. This is why a song becomes easier after you hear it many times. The speed is the same, but your brain knows the path. English listening works exactly like that. Think about a song in English. The first time you hear it, the lyrics may sound unclear. You may catch only a few words, but after hearing it again and again, suddenly you start singing parts of it without effort. You recognize the rhythm. You expect the next line. You know where the voice rises and falls. You can even understand words that were once hidden. What changed the song did not become easier. Your brain became familiar with the sound. That same principle can train your English ear. This is why repetition is not a small technique. Repetition is how the brain builds speed. Every time you listen again, your brain strengthens the connection between sound and meaning. Every repeated phrase becomes a deeper mark inside your memory. Every repeated chunk becomes easier to recognize. Next time, every repeated rhythm teaches your ear how English moves. Every repeated sentence weakens the habit of translation because your brain no longer needs to analyze it from zero. Many learners hate repetition because they think it is boring, but they misunderstand its purpose. Repetition is boring only when you repeat without attention. But when you repeat with a goal, every listening becomes different. The first time you listen for the general meaning. The second time you listen for missed words. The third time you listen for chunks. The fourth time you listen for stress. The fifth time you listen for linking. The sixth time you listen for reductions. The seventh time you shout at the speaker. The eighth time you listen without subtitles. The ninth time you repeat with confidence. The 10th time your ear hears what it could not hear before. This is deep listening. Deep listening is not passive. Deep listening is active training. It tells your brain we are not moving forward until the sound becomes clear. This is how your ear becomes powerful. Not by touching hundreds of audios lightly, but by going deep into a few audios until your brain learns the real spoken patterns. Inside them, one short audio repeated deeply can train your ear. More than 10 long videos watched lazily. You must understand the difference between hearing and training. Hearing means English entered your ear. Training means your brain changed because of it. Many learners hear English every day, but their listening does not improve because they do not engage with the sound. They play English in the background while scrolling, eating, walking, or thinking about something else. And then they wonder why fast English is still difficult. Background listening can help with comfort, but it cannot replace focused repetition. If your attention is not present, your ear receives sound, but your brain does not build deep recognition. A powerful listener does not only ask, "How many hours did I listen?" A powerful listener asks, "How deeply did I listen?" One focused minute can be more valuable than one distracted hour. If you listen to one sentence 10 times and finally hear the linking, reduction, stress, and meaning, that sentence has trained your ear. But if you listen to 1 hour of English and understand nothing deeply, your brain may feel tired but not transformed. This is why you need selected repetition. Do not repeat random English that is too difficult, too fast, or too long. Choose English that is slightly above your level. It should challenge you but not destroy your confidence. If the audio is too easy, your ear will not grow much. If it is too hard, your brain will panic and give up. The best training audio is the one where you understand maybe 60 or 70% at first, and through repetition, you can bring it to 80, 90, and then almost complete understanding. This process builds confidence because you can feel progress. At first, you listen and feel confused. Then you repeat and understand more. Then you check the text and discover the missing words. Then you listen again and suddenly those missing words become clear. This gives your brain proof. It tells you I am improving. Confidence does not come from empty motivation. Confidence comes from evidence. Repetition gives you evidence many learners lose. Confidence because they keep choosing new difficult content every day. Every new audio makes them feel like a beginner again. They never stay long enough with one piece of English to see improvement, so their brain collects failure after failure. They listen once, feel bad, move on. Listen once, feel bad, move on. Listen once, feel bad, move on. This creates a dangerous belief: I cannot understand English, but the real problem is not ability. The real problem is that they never gave their ear enough repetition to win. Do not do that to yourself. Give your ear the chance to succeed. Choose one audio and stay with it until it becomes familiar. Let your brain experience the beautiful feeling of understanding something that was once unclear. That feeling is powerful. It creates momentum. It makes you believe, if I can understand this after repetition, I can understand more. This belief is the fuel of long-term fluency. Repetition also reduces fear. The unknown creates fear. Familiar sound creates calm. When English is new, your brain feels threatened because it cannot predict what is coming. But when you repeat the same audio, the sound becomes known. Your brain relaxes. When your brain relaxes, listening improves. Panic blocks understanding, calm opens understanding. This is why repeating the same English is not wasting time. It is teaching your nervous system that English is not danger. English is pattern. English is sound. English is meaning. English can be understood. This matters because many learners do not only have a listening problem, they have listening anxiety. The moment English starts, their body becomes tense. Their mind says, I will not understand. Their confidence drops before the speaker even finishes. The first sentence repetition heals. This because repeated listening removes the shock. The sound that once attacked you becomes familiar. The sentence that once confused you becomes clear. The voice that once felt fast becomes normal. Slowly, your body stops reacting with fear. This is why the English ear method is not only about ears. It is about the whole learner. It trains the ear, but it also trains patience, confidence, calmness, and trust. You begin to understand that confusion is not failure. Confusion is the first stage of training. Missing words is not failure. Missing words shows you where your ear needs practice. Repeating audio is not failure. Repeating audio is the method that turns unclear sound into clear meaning. Now let us talk about subtitles. Many learners use subtitles in the wrong way. They either depend on subtitles completely or avoid them completely. Both extremes can be weak. Subtitles are not the enemy. Dependence is the enemy. Subtitles should be used like a training tool, not like a permanent crutch. If you always listen with subtitles, first your eyes do the work and your ear stays weak. But if you never use subtitles, you may keep missing the same words without knowing why. The solution is a smart repetition system. First, listen without subtitles. Let your ear work. Do not panic. Try to catch the general meaning. Then listen again without subtitles and catch more. After that, use subtitles or transcript to check what you misnotice. The difference between what you thought you heard and what was actually said. This moment is gold. This is where your ear learns. Then remove subtitles and listen again. Now your ear will hear what your eyes helped you notice. This is how subtitles become training, not cheating. For example, you may hear a sentence and think the speaker said something unclear. Then you check the transcript and see the phrase I was supposed to. Suddenly you realize that supposed to sounded different in natural speech. Then you listen again and now your ear catches it. Next time you hear supposed to in another video, your ear recognizes it faster. This is how repetition with checking builds real listening power. Another reason repetition matters is that real English contains reductions that your brain cannot master through explanation. Alone I can tell you that going to becomes gonna, but your ear needs to hear it many times. I can tell you that wanna becomes wanna, but your ear needs repetition until it recognizes the sound instantly. I can tell you that did you may sound like did you, but your ear needs repeated exposure. Knowledge explains the pattern. Repetition installs the pattern. This is very important. Do not confuse understanding a technique with mastering it. You may understand the idea of linking but still mislinking in real speech. You may understand chunks but still listen word by word. You may understand reductions but still panic when you hear them. Why? Because intellectual understanding is fast but ear training takes repetition. The mind can learn an idea in 1 minute, but the ear needs repeated sound to build recognition. This is why many learners watch advice videos and feel motivated but do not improve. They collect ideas but do not train them. They know they should stop translating. They know they should listen for chunks. They know they should practice shadowing. They know they should repeat audio. But knowing is not enough. The ear does not change because you agree with advice. The ear changes because you practice sound again and again until your brain recognizes it automatically. Repetition also builds automaticity. Automaticity means you understand without effort. When you first learn a phrase, you need attention. You hear it and think, but after enough repetition, the phrase becomes automatic. You hear it and understand instantly. This is what you want real conversation requires. Automatic understanding, because there is no time to pause and analyze every sentence. If common phrases are not automatic, listening will always feel slow. Think about the phrase, I don't know. You do not need to translate it because it is probably automatic for you. You hear it and understand immediately. Now imagine building that same automatic feeling for thousands of phrases. I'm not sure, it depends. That makes sense. I see what you mean. I was about to. Let me think about it. That's not what I meant. You know what I'm saying? I'll get back to you. It's not a big deal when these phrases become automatic. Fast English becomes easier because your brain no longer works so hard. This is the true goal of repetition, not memorization, only automatic recognition. You are not repeating to become a parrot. You are repeating so your brain can recognize real English without delay. Delay is the enemy of listening. When understanding comes late, the conversation moves ahead. But when recognition is automatic, you stay present. You hear, understand, and continue. That is fluency. The best repetition practice has 3 levels. The first level is understanding. You listen until you know what the audio means. Second level is recognition. You listen until your ear can catch the words without needing subtitles. The third level is production. You shadow and repeat until your mouth can say the same patterns naturally. When you complete all 3 levels, the audio becomes part of your English brain. You have not only listened to it, you have absorbed it. Most learners stop at level 1. They understand the meaning once and move on. But understanding once does not create fluency. You must stay until recognition becomes fast and production becomes possible. This is why repetition must be deeper than normal learning. You are not studying for a quiz. You are building a listening system inside your brain. Let us imagine a simple daily training session. You choose a 90-second audio. First, you listen without subtitles and try to understand the main idea. Second, you listen again and write down any chunks you catch. Third, you check the transcript and underline 3 phrases that were hard to hear. Fourth, you listen again while looking at those phrases. Fifth, you close the transcript and listen again. Sixth, you shadow sentence by sentence. Seventh, you listen one final time without help and notice how much clearer it feels. This is training. This is how English moves from outside your brain to inside your brain. If you do this with one audio, every day your listening will change. Not because you found a secret shortcut, but because you are finally giving your ear what it needs: repeated, focused, meaningful contact with real English. Your ear cannot become strong through wishes. It becomes strong through contact. The more often your brain meets the same sound with attention, the faster it recognizes that sound later. Another powerful method is delayed repetition. Do not only repeat the audio 10 times in one day and forget it forever. Return to it later. Listen again tomorrow. Listen again after 3 days. Listen again after 1 week. Each return strengthens memory. This teaches your brain that the sound matters. It moves the patterns from short-term memory into long-term listening ability. This is how English becomes permanent. Many learners forget because they only practice once. They understand today, but next week the sound disappears. That is normal. The brain keeps what it needs repeatedly, so your job is to revisit important audios and chunks. Repetition over time is stronger than repetition only in one moment. One phrase heard today, tomorrow, next week, and next month becomes part of you. One phrase heard once may disappear. This is also how you should build your personal listening library. Do not depend only on random videos from the internet. Create a small collection of audios that match your goals. Keep audios for daily conversation, storytelling interviews, emotional speech pronunciation, and native speed. Return to them again and again. Let them become your training ground. A serious learner does not only consume content. A serious learner builds a system you're listening. Library should include voices that are clear, enough to learn from but natural enough to train. Real understanding. If every audio is too slow and too perfect, your ear will remain weak for real life. If every audio is too fast and messy, your confidence may break. Choose a balanced path. Start with clear, natural English, then slowly move to faster conversations, different accents, and real-life speech. Repetition will help you climb. Do not rush the process. Many learners want to jump straight into movies and understand everything immediately, but movies are difficult because they include slang, background noise, emotional acting, cultural references, fast reactions, and unclear speech. If your ear is not trained, yet movies can make you feel weak. Use movies later as training, but build your foundation with short, clear, repeatable audio. Strength comes before challenge. Foundation comes before speed. This is like going to the gym. A beginner does not start with the heaviest weight. A beginner starts with manageable weight and repeats the movement until the muscles grow. Your ear is the same. If you throw your ear into extremely fast English every day without structure, it may not grow. It may only feel defeated. But if you choose the right difficulty and repeat deeply, your listening muscles become stronger. Then harder English becomes possible. Repetition also teaches your ear to separate sound. At first, fast English may feel like one long line. You cannot tell where one word ends and another begins. But after repetition, boundaries begin to appear. You hear a chunk here, a phrase. There is stressed word there, a reduction there. The wall of sound begins to crack open. This is one of the most exciting moments in listening training. The sound that once felt like fog begins to become shape. This happens because the brain is a pattern machine. It wants to recognize patterns, but it needs enough examples. When you repeat, you give your brain the same pattern again and again. Eventually, the brain says, I know this. Once it knows the pattern, it uses less energy. Listening becomes lighter. You stop feeling exhausted. After every sentence, you begin to feel control. Energy matters. Translation makes listening tiring. Word by word listening makes listening tiring. New content every minute makes listening tiring, but familiar chunks reduce effort. Familiar rhythm reduces effort. Familiar reductions reduce effort. Repetition reduces effort because it turns difficulty into recognition. And the less energy your brain uses on basic recognition, the more energy it has for meaning, emotion, and response. This is why advanced learners seem calm when listening. They are not magical. Their brains have automated many patterns. They do not need to spend energy on every small phrase. They recognize it instantly and move on. You can build that same calmness through repetition. Calmness is not only personality. Calmness is the result of familiarity. Another beautiful benefit of repetition is pronunciation improvement. When you listen to the same sentence many times in shadow, your mouth begins to copy the natural flow. You start noticing that your old way of saying the sentence was too slow, too flat, or too separate. Repetition gives your mouth a model. It teaches not only what to say, but how to say it. Your speaking becomes smoother because your ear is feeding your mouth better sound. This is why learners who repeat in shadow often sound more natural than learners who only study grammar. Grammar can make your sentences correct, but rhythm makes your speech alive. Repetition gives you rhythm. When you hear and repeat the same natural phrases, your voice begins to carry English music. You stop speaking like every word is separate. You begin to connect words, stress important ideas, and speak with confidence. Repetition also helps your memory in a deeper way. When you learn a new word through a dictionary, you may forget it, but when you hear that word inside a real sentence many times with sound, rhythm, situation, and emotion, it becomes easier to remember. Context makes memory stronger. Sound makes memory stronger. Repetition makes memory stronger. This is why listening repetition can improve vocabulary without forcing you to memorize long lists. For example, you may learn the word hesitate from a dictionary and forget it. But if you hear someone say, don't hesitate to ask me, again and again, you remember the phrase, you understand the situation, you can use it. Your ear recognizes it later. That is real vocabulary learning. Words become powerful when they live inside phrases. Repetition gives them life. This is why the English ear method asks you to repeat useful English, not random English. Do not repeat sentences you will never use. Repeat phrases that appear in real conversation. Repeat questions, responses, opinions, explanations. Emotional sentences and daily life chunks. Your brain grows faster when the input is useful. A strong English ear is built from meaningful sound, not empty noise. Now there is one warning. Repetition does not mean mindless repeating. Some learners repeat audio many times but still do not improve. Because they are not paying attention, they press play again and again, but their mind is somewhere else. This is not deep training. Repetition must be active. Each time you listen, give your brain a mission. Listen for meaning, listen for stress, listen for linking. Listen for the phrase you missed. Listen for the emotion, listen for the rhythm. With a mission, repetition becomes powerful. Another mistake is repeating only easy audio. Easy repetition feels good, but it may not build enough strength. You need a little challenge. Your ear should work but not suffer. Choose audio that makes you say, I can understand some of this, but I want to catch more. That feeling is perfect. It gives your brain pressure and possibility at the same time. Pressure creates growth, possibility protects confidence. A third mistake is quitting too early. Many learners repeat 2 or 3 times and say still hard, but your ear may need 10, 15, or 20 repetitions for difficult audio. This is normal. Do not measure progress too quickly. Some sounds need time, some accents need time. Some reductions need time. The learner who stays longer wins because they allow the brain to adapt. Patience is part of ear training. You cannot force your brain to recognize every sound instantly, but you can give it repeated chances. Every repetition is a chance. Every repetition says, listen again, notice more, catch more, relax more. Over time, your brain responds. It begins to open. It begins to hear, it begins to understand. This is why you should celebrate small improvements. Maybe you did not understand the whole audio, but you caught one phrase that was unclear yesterday. That is progress. Maybe you still need subtitles, but now you can hear where the words connect. That is progress. Maybe you cannot shadow perfectly, but your rhythm is better than last week. That is progress. Fluency is built from small wins repeated consistently. Small wins are powerful because they keep you moving. Many learners quit because they expect a giant change overnight. But English listening improves like sunrise. At first, everything is dark, then a little light appears. Then shapes become visible, then the whole world becomes clear. If you quit in the dark, you never see the light. Repetition is how you stay until the light comes. You must also protect your mind from comparing your listening journey with others. Some learners improve faster because they had more exposure, better training, more confidence, or more time. That does not mean you are behind. Your job is not to beat someone else. Your job is to train your own ear. Every day, the learner who compares becomes discouraged. The learner who repeats becomes stronger. Remember, your brain is always listening to your beliefs. If you say, I will never understand fast English, your brain becomes heavy. But if you say, this sound is unfamiliar now, but repetition will make it clear, your brain stays open. That belief is more than motivation. It is a training mindset. It gives you patience. When English feels difficult, repetition also changes your relationship with mistakes. When you listen once and miss something, you may feel embarrassed. But when you repeat, missing becomes part of the process. You miss, then check, then listen again, then understand. Mistakes become information. Confusion becomes a map. Every unclear sound tells you exactly where to train. This removes shame from learning. The strongest learners are not the ones who never miss words. The strongest learners are the ones who return to missed words until they become clear. They are not afraid of difficult audio. They do not run away after the first failure. They know that the first listening is not the final result. It is only the beginning. This mindset separates serious learners from casual learners. Now imagine what happens after 30 days of repetition. You have trained 30 short audios. Deeply, you have heard hundreds of chunks many times. You have shadowed natural rhythm. You have checked missed words. You have repeated difficult phrases. Your ear is no longer the same. It has more patterns. It has more confidence. It has more patience. It can recognize more sound. This is real growth. After 90 days, the change becomes stronger. Fast English still challenges you, but it no longer scares you the same way. You know how to train it. You know how to repeat. You know how to use subtitles correctly. You know how to shadow. You know how to collect chunks. You no longer feel helpless. You have a method. A learner with a method is powerful because confusion no longer controls them. After 1 year, if you Continue this way, your listening identity changes. You no longer see yourself as someone who is bad at listening. You see yourself as someone who trains the English ear every day. That identity matters. When your identity changes, your habits become stronger. You are not forcing yourself anymore. You are becoming the kind of person who listens, repeats, understands, and grows. This is the deeper purpose of repetition. It does not only change your ear, it changes who you believe you are as an English learner. You become patient, you become focused, you become confident. You become someone who knows that fast English is not a wall. It is a pattern waiting to become familiar. So from today, do not chase endless new content. Choose one short audio and master it. Do not listen once and leave. Listen again. Do not feel ashamed when you miss words. Check them in return. Do not use subtitles as a crutch. Use them as a mirror. Do not repeat without attention. Repeat with a mission. Do not ask, why am I still not fluent? Ask, what sound pattern am I training today? This question will guide you. It will keep your practice clear. Maybe today you train gonna. Maybe tomorrow you train I was supposed to. Maybe the next day you train stress and questions. Maybe after that you train linking and pick it up. Small patterns become big listening power when repeated daily. At the end of this chapter, remember this golden rule. You do not need new English every second. You need familiar English deep enough to become automatic. New content gives you variety, but repeated content gives you mastery. Variety entertains your mind, but mastery trains your ear. If you want to understand fast English without translating, repetition is not optional. Repetition is the road. The audio that feels unclear today can become clear tomorrow. The phrase that feels too fast today can become automatic next month. The native speech that scares you today can become familiar with training. Do not judge your future listening by your first attempt. Your first attempt only shows where you are starting. Repetition shows where you can go, so listen again. Not because you failed the first time, but because your ear deserves another chance. Listen again because the sound is becoming familiar. Listen again because your brain is building connections. Listen again because fast English is slowly losing its power over you. Listen again because every repetition is shaping the English ear you are trying to build. And one day you will hear a sentence that once confused you and it will feel clear. You will hear a phrase that once sounded like noise and it will feel natural. You will hear fast English and instead of panic, you will feel recognition. That moment will not be luck. It will be the reward of repetition. This is how fast English becomes familiar. This is how listening becomes calm. This is how translation becomes weaker. This is how your English ear becomes stronger. Repeat until the sound opens. Repeat until the rhythm becomes natural. Repeat until the chunks become automatic. Repeat until English no longer feels like something outside you, but something your brain can receive with confidence. That is the power of repetition. It turns noise into meaning. It turns fear into familiarity. It turns slow understanding into instant recognition. And if you stay with it, repetition will turn your English ear into one of your greatest strengths. Chapter 6, Shadowing. The bridge between your ear and your mouth. There comes a stage in every serious English learner's journey when listening alone is not enough. You may listen every day, understand more words, recognize more chunks, and feel that your ear is slowly becoming stronger. But when it is time to speak, your mouth still feels slow. Your brain understands the sentence, but your tongue cannot produce it. You hear natural English, but when you try to answer, your voice becomes stiff, your rhythm breaks. Your pronunciation feels heavy and the words do not come out with the same flow. This is the painful gap between understanding English and speaking English, and this gap cannot be closed by listening passively forever. This is where shadowing becomes powerful. Shadowing is not just repeating English. Shadowing is training your ear, brain, and mouth to work together at the same time. You listen to a speaker, and then you repeat after them as closely as possible, copying their rhythm, stress, pronunciation, emotion, speed, and flow. You are not only asking, what does this sentence mean? You are asking, how does this sentence move? You are teaching your mouth to follow what your ear hears. This is why shadowing is one of the strongest bridges between listening and speaking. Many learners have a big collection of English inside their mind, but that English is trapped. They understand lessons, they know many words. They can read sentences. They can even understand slow audio. But when they speak, the English does not come out naturally because the ear and mouth have not been trained together. The ear receives English, but the mouth has not practiced producing the same patterns. so the learner feels like English is inside them. But there is a wall between the brain and the voice. Shadowing breaks that wall. When you shadow, you stop being only a listener and start becoming a speaker. You train your mouth to move with English rhythm. You train your tongue to touch sounds faster. You train your brain to process meaning while producing sound. You train your confidence to speak without waiting for perfect translation. This is not normal repetition. This is active fluency training. At first, shadowing may feel uncomfortable. This is normal. You may feel late. You may miss words. You may speak over the audio. You may sound strange. You may feel your mouth cannot move fast enough. You may laugh at yourself because the speaker sounds smooth and you sound broken, but do not stop. That discomfort is not failure. That discomfort is proof that your mouth is learning a new movement. Just like muscles shake when they are growing stronger, your English voice may shake when it is learning real fluency. Most learners avoid shadowing because it exposes the truth. Silent listening allows you to hide. You can listen and think I understand, even if your mouth cannot produce the sentence. But shadowing shows you exactly where your English is weak. If your ear cannot catch the sound, you cannot repeat it. If your mouth cannot say the phrase smoothly, you know the phrase is not automatic. Yet if your rhythm is flat, you realize you have been learning English as text, not as living speech. This truth may feel uncomfortable, but it is valuable. Shadowing gives you a mirror. A mirror does not insult you. It shows you what needs training. This is why shadowing must become part of the English ear method, because the real goal is not only to understand fast English. The real goal is to understand fast English and respond without translating. Listening gives you input. Shadowing turns that input into movement. Listening trains recognition. Shadowing trains reaction. Listening helps you receive English. Shadowing helps you produce English. When both work together, your fluency begins to change. Think about how children learn sounds. They do not sit with grammar charts before speaking. They hear sounds, copy sounds. Repeat phrases, make mistakes. Try again, and slowly their mouth learns the language. They may not understand grammar deeply, but their ear and mouth are connected. As adult learners, we often reverse the process. We study rules, memorize words, read explanations, and wait for speaking confidence to appear later. But confidence does not appear only through knowledge. Confidence appears when your mouth has practiced enough to trust itself. Shadowing builds that trust. When you repeat after a speaker again and again, your mouth begins to believe. I can say this. Your brain begins to believe. I do not need to create every sentence from zero. Your ear begins to believe. I know how this rhythm works. This belief is not imagination. It is built through repeated physical practice. Speaking is not only mental. Speaking is physical. Your tongue, lips, jaw, breath, and voice all need training. Shadowing gives them that training. Many English learners forget that speaking is a movement skill. You cannot learn movement only by thinking. You cannot become a good swimmer by reading about water. You cannot become a good driver by memorizing traffic rules only. You cannot become a fluent speaker by studying grammar only. At some point, the body must practice, the mouth must move. The voice must come out, the rhythm must be felt. Shadowing is the practice that turns English from knowledge into action. This is why learners who shadow daily often improve faster than learners who only watch videos. The person who only watches may understand more, but the person who shadows begins to speak more naturally. Shadowing forces English to leave the screen and enter your body. It teaches your mouth the speed of real English. It teaches your breath the length of English phrases. It teaches your voice the rise and fall of natural speech. It teaches your brain to respond without overthinking. At the beginning, do not choose very fast or difficult audio. This is a mistake many learners make. They take a movie scene, a fast interview, or a complicated podcast, and they try to shadow it immediately. Then they feel defeated because they cannot keep up. Shadowing should challenge you, but it should not destroy your confidence. Start with clear, natural English. Choose a short sentence, then a short paragraph. Then a short audio. Build strength step by step. Your first goal is not speed. Your first goal is accuracy and rhythm. If you try to copy speed before your mouth understands the movement, you will only create stress. Slow shadowing is better than panicked shadowing. Listen to one sentence, pause. Repeat it, listen again. Repeat again, copy the strong words. Copy the weak sounds, copy the pauses. Copy the emotion. Let the sentence enter your mouth slowly before you try to say it at full speed. For example, take the sentence, I don't really know what you mean. A beginner may read it word by word with equal stress, but natural English has movement. The speaker may stress really no, and mean the smaller words may flow around them. If you shouted this sentence correctly, you are not only practicing pronunciation, you are practicing the music of English. You are training your mouth to sound connected, not broken. This is the real power of shadowing. It makes you copy the invisible parts of English. A textbook can show you words, but shadowing shows you rhythm. A dictionary can show you meaning, but shadowing shows you movement. A grammar book can show you structure, but shadowing shows you life. English becomes alive when you hear it, feel it, and speak it with the same flow. Many learners speak English with correct words, but a natural rhythm. They say every word separately. They give equal power to small words, and important words they pause in strange places. They sound like they are reading, even when they are speaking. This does not mean their English is bad. It means their mouth has not absorbed the rhythm yet. Shadowing fixes this by giving the mouth a model. The learner no longer invents the rhythm. They copy it from real speech until it becomes natural. This is why you should shadow with emotion, not only with sound if the speaker sounds excited. Copy the excitement if the speaker sounds serious. Copy the seriousness if the speaker sounds calm. Copy the calmness if the speaker sounds surprised. Copy the surprise. This may feel strange at first, but it is powerful because real communication is emotional. If you only copy the words, your English may still sound flat. If you copy the feeling, your English becomes more alive. English is not only about saying correct sentences. English is about sounding like you mean what you say. A flat voice can make even good English feel weak. A natural voice can make simple English feel confident. Shadowing trains this confidence because it teaches you how English carries emotion. You begin to hear how speakers show certainty, doubt, excitement, disagreement, kindness, and seriousness through tone. Then your own speaking becomes stronger. Shadowing also helps you stop translating, because it trains speed. When you shadow, you do not have time to translate every word. The audio is moving and your mouth must follow. This forces your brain to stay inside English. At first, your mind may still try to translate, but shadowing slowly weakens that habit. Your brain begins to hear a phrase and repeat it as one sound group. This builds direct connection. Sound enters, meaning appears. Mouth responds. That is the fluency loop. This fluency loop is what every learner needs. Most learners have a broken loop. Sound enters, translation begins. Grammar checking starts, fear appears. Mouth freezes, shadowing creates a new loop. Sound enters, ear recognizes. Mouth copies, brain adapts. Confidence grows the more you shadow. The faster this loop becomes. Over time, you begin to speak certain phrases without building them word by word. They come out naturally because your brain has repeated them many times. This is why shadowing should focus on useful phrases, not random sentences. Do not waste your training on sentences you will never use. Choose phrases that appear in real life. Phrases like "I know what you mean." "That makes sense. I was just about to say that." "Let me think about it. I'm not sure about that." "It depends on the situation." "That's exactly what I needed. I didn't expect that, and can you explain that again?" These are useful. These phrases can become part of your speaking. When you shadow useful phrases, your brain stores ready-made speaking tools. Later in real conversation, you do not need to build everything from zero. Your mouth already knows the phrase. Your ear already knows the rhythm. Your brain already knows the meaning. This is how speaking becomes faster. Fast speaking does not come from thinking faster in your first language. It comes from having English patterns ready. Inside your mind, many learners freeze in conversation because they try to create every sentence from nothing. They search for grammar, choose words, translate ideas, and worry about mistakes at the same time. This is too much pressure. Shadowing reduces that pressure by giving you ready patterns. You practice them so deeply that they become automatic. Then when you meet them, they appear quickly. This is why shadowing is not only pronunciation practice, it is response training. It prepares your brain for real moments. When someone says something you understand, you need a response. If your mouth has practiced natural responses, through shadowing you will speak faster. You will not be perfect, but you will not be silent. And for many learners, breaking silence is the first real victory. Silence becomes a habit when the mouth is not trained. A learner hears English, understands some of it, but does not respond because the mouth feels unsafe. The brain says, wait. Translate first, check grammar first. Don't make mistakes, don't sound foolish. By the time the learner is ready, the moment is gone. Shadowing trains the mouth to move before fear becomes too strong. It builds speaking courage through repetition. This does not mean you should speak carelessly. It means you should train your voice to trust English. Movement confidence is not the absence of mistakes. Confidence is the ability to continue. Even with mistakes, shadowing helps because it gives your voice daily practice. A voice that practices every day becomes less afraid. A mouth that moves every day becomes less stiff. A brain that hears and repeats English every day becomes less dependent on translation. Another powerful benefit of shadowing is pronunciation awareness. Many learners cannot hear their own mistakes because their ear is not trained. They think they are saying the sentence correctly. But when they compare themselves with the speaker, they notice differences. Maybe their stress is wrong. Maybe they are pronouncing every word too separately. Maybe they are missing the weak sounds. Maybe their sentence is too flat. This comparison is not something to fear. It is how improvement begins. When you shadow, record your voice sometimes. Then listen to the original speaker and your recording. Do not insult yourself. Do not say, "My English is terrible." Say, "What is one difference I can improve?" Maybe the speaker connects. Pick it up, but you say 3 separate words. Maybe the speaker stresses really, but you stress the wrong word. Maybe the speaker's voice rises in a question, but yours stays flat. Choose one thing and improve it. This is how shadowing becomes intelligent. You do not need to fix everything at once. In fact, trying to fix everything can make you tense. Fix one thing at a time. One day, focus on rhythm. Another day, focus on linking. Another day, focus on stress. Another day, focus on emotion. Another day, focus on speed. Over time, these small improvements combine into a natural speaking style. Fluency is not built by one giant change. It is built by many small adjustments. Repeated consistently. Shadowing also trains breathing. Many learners run out of breath when speaking English because they do not know where to pause. They try to say long sentences without natural breathing points, or they pause after every word because they are nervous. Native speakers breathe with phrase groups. They pause where the meaning allows. When you shadow, you learn where the speaker breathes, where they pause, and how they continue. This helps your speaking become smoother and less stressful. Breath is more important than many learners realize. If your breathing is nervous, your speaking sounds nervous. If your breath is controlled, your voice becomes stronger. Shadowing helps you feel the natural length of English phrases. You learn that you do not need to rush everything. You learn that pauses are part of communication. You learn that a short pause can make your English sound more confident, not weak. This is especially important for learners who speak too fast because they are afraid. They think fast speaking equals fluency. But this is not true. Fluency is not speed alone. Fluency is smoothness, clarity, rhythm, and confidence. A person can speak fast and still sound unclear. Another person can speak at a moderate speed and sound fluent because their rhythm is natural. Shadowing teaches you this balance. Do not shadow only to become faster. Shadow to become smoother. Smooth English is more powerful than rushed English. When your speech is smooth, people understand you better. When people understand you better, your confidence grows. When your confidence grows, you speak more. When you speak more, fluency becomes stronger. This is the cycle shadowing creates. At the same time, shadowing gradually increases speed because your mouth becomes trained. At first, you may need pauses. Then you can repeat short chunks. Then you can follow longer phrases. Then you can shadow almost together with the speaker. This progress feels amazing because you can physically feel your English becoming faster. Not forced faster, but naturally faster. There are different levels of shadowing, and each level has its purpose. The first level is listen and repeat shadowing. You listen to one sentence, pause and repeat. This is best for beginners or difficult audio. The second level is delayed shadowing. You listen and repeat half a second or 1 second after the speaker. Without pausing, this builds speed and rhythm. The third level is simultaneous shadowing. You speak almost at the same time as the speaker, copying their flow. This is advanced and very powerful. But it should come after your ear is ready. Do not rush to the highest level. If you cannot repeat clearly after pausing, you are not ready for simultaneous shadowing. Build slowly. A strong foundation matters. If you shadow too fast too early, your mouth may create bad habits. You may mumble, skip sounds, or speak without meaning. Good shadowing is not noise. Good shadowing is controlled copying with attention. Meaning must stay alive during shadowing. Some learners repeat sounds without understanding, but that is not enough. You should know what the sentence means when you shadow. Feel the message. If the sentence is, I didn't expect that. Feel surprise. If the sentence is, I know exactly what you mean. Feel understanding. If the sentence is, let me think about it. Feel thoughtfulness, meaning gives life to sound. Without meaning, shadowing becomes empty imitation. This is why the best shadowing happens. After comprehension, first understand the audio. Then shadow it if the audio is too unclear. Check the transcript, learn the chunks. Understand the meaning, then repeat. Once you know what you are saying, your voice becomes more natural. You're not just copying sounds. You're speaking ideas. Shadowing also teaches you connected speech in a way explanation cannot. You can read that wanna becomes wanna. But when you shadow it, your mouth experiences the change. You can read that going to becomes gonna. But shadowing makes your tongue practice it. You can read that did you may sound like didja. But shadowing trains your ear to hear it, and your mouth to say it. Physical practice makes the pattern real. This is why you should not be afraid of natural, spoken forms. Some learners think using gonna or wanna is wrong, because they learned formal English first. But spoken English has different levels. In formal writing, you may write going to. In casual speaking, people often say gonna. Understanding these forms does not make your English bad. It makes your listening stronger. You do not need to use every casual form all the time, but your ear must recognize them. Shadowing helps you recognize and produce them when appropriate. There is also a deep connection between shadowing and memory. When you only read a phrase, you may forget it when you hear it. Repeat it, feel it, and say it with rhythm. Your memory becomes stronger. The phrase is stored in more than one way. Your ear remembers it, your mouth remembers it. Your brain remembers the meaning. Your body remembers the rhythm. This creates deeper learning. This is why some phrases become automatic. After shadowing, you may find yourself saying them naturally later without planning. This is a beautiful moment. It means the phrase has moved from study memory to speaking memory. Study memory knows information. Speaking memory produces language. Shadowing moves English into speaking memory. Most learners have too much English in study memory and not enough English in speaking memory. They know grammar rules but cannot use them quickly. They know words but cannot say them naturally. They understand sentences, but cannot produce them under pressure. Shadowing transfers English from the silent part of your brain into the active part of your voice. This transfer is the heart of fluency. A learner who only studies may know English, but a learner who shadows begins to own English. There is a difference. Knowing English means you can recognize it. Owning English means you can use it. Knowing English means it exists in your notebook. Owning English means it comes out of your mouth. Knowing English gives you understanding. Owning English gives you confidence. Shadowing helps you move from knowing to owning. Now you must choose the right material. For the English ear method, the best shadowing material is short, useful, emotional, and clear. Short because your brain can repeat deeply. Useful because you want phrases you can use in real life. Emotional because emotion makes memory stronger. Clear because your ear needs a good model. A boring sentence repeated 10 times may not stay with you, but a meaningful sentence spoken with feeling can enter your memory quickly. Choose speakers who speak clearly but naturally. Do not choose robotic audio. Do not choose extremely slow artificial speech forever. You need real rhythm. You need natural pauses. You need human emotion. Your ear must train with living English, not dead English. If the speaker sounds too perfect and unnatural, your ear may not be ready for real conversations. If the speaker sounds too messy and fast, you may feel defeated. Find the middle path. One powerful method is to shadow motivational English, stories, interviews, and real explanations. These types of speech contain emotion and useful language. They teach you how people explain ideas, express feelings, ask questions, respond, and connect thoughts. This is better than repeating random dictionary sentences. Your goal is not to sound like a textbook. Your goal is to sound like a person. When you shadow, use your whole attention. Do not only repeat with your mouth. While your mind sleeps, listen carefully. Notice the first sound, notice the final sound. Notice where words connect. Notice the strong beat, notice the weak syllables. Notice the tone, then repeat. This kind of attention turns every sentence into a lesson. Even a simple phrase can teach you a lot. When you listen deeply, for example, the phrase "I know what you mean" looks simple, but when spoken naturally, it may have rhythm, connection, and emotion. The speaker may stress no and mean. The word what may become softer. The phrase may flow as one unit. When you shadow it deeply, you are training listening, pronunciation rhythm, chunk recognition and response at the same time. One phrase becomes a complete workout. This is why shadowing is efficient. It trains many skills together: listening, speaking, pronunciation rhythm, memory, confidence, and direct understanding all work at once. This makes shadowing one of the best uses of your practice time. 10 minutes of focused shadowing can be more powerful than 1 hour of passive watching because shadowing demands participation. It makes you enter the language, but there is a condition: you must do it consistently. Shadowing once or twice will not change your English. Shadowing daily will. Your mouth needs repeated contact. Your ear needs repeated rhythm. Your brain needs repeated phrases. Even 10 minutes a day can create change if you do it with focus. The learner who shadows every day for 90 days will not have the same voice. At the end, something will shift. The mouth will become lighter. The ear will become sharper. The brain will become faster. Do not wait until you feel ready to shadow. Shadowing is what makes you ready. Many learners say, "I will speak when my English becomes better." But speaking practice is how English becomes better. They say, "I will shadow when my pronunciation improves." But shadowing improves pronunciation. They say, "I will repeat when I understand everything." But repetition helps you understand more. Do not wait for readiness. Training creates readiness. At first, your shadowing may be messy, and that is okay. Messy practice is better than silent perfection. A learner who practices imperfectly improves. A learner who waits for perfection stays stuck. Your goal is not to sound perfect today. Your goal is to sound slightly better than yesterday. That is enough. Small improvement repeated daily becomes transformation. You must also learn to protect your confidence while shadowing. Do not compare your voice with native speakers. In a cruel way, a native speaker has heard and spoken English for thousands of hours. Your training your voice has its own journey. Use the speaker as a guide, not as a weapon against yourself. Say, "This is my model," not "This is proof that I am bad." The difference matters if you judge yourself harshly. Your mouth will close if you train yourself kindly. Your mouth will open. Fear makes speech tight. Patience makes speech smoother. So when you shadow, smile. If you make mistakes, repeat again. The goal is progress, not punishment. Your English ear and mouth grow better when your mind feels safe enough to practice. Shadowing can also be used to fix specific weaknesses. If you struggle with fast questions, shadow questions. If you struggle with daily conversation, shadow dialogues. If you struggle with storytelling, shadow stories. If you struggle with interviews, shadow interview answers. If you struggle with pronunciation, shadow short pronunciation focus clips. Do not train randomly all the time. Train according to your weakness. This is how serious learners improve. They do not just say, "My English is weak." They ask, which part is weak? Is it listening to questions? Is it responding quickly? Is it pronunciation? Is it rhythm? Is it confidence? Is it long sentences? Is it fast speech? Once you know the weakness, shadowing becomes targeted. Targeted practice creates faster results. For example, if you cannot answer quickly, shadow short response phrases. Every day repeat phrases like, "That's a good question, I'm not sure, but I think let me explain it this way." "I see your point, I agree with you." "I don't think that's true, and can you say that again?" These phrases prepare your mouth for real conversation. They give you time, confidence, and structure. If you struggle to understand fast English, shadow short fast chunks slowly first. Then at normal speed, this teaches your ear and mouth how the fast version is formed. When your mouth can produce the chunk, your ear recognizes it more easily. This is a powerful secret. Speaking practice improves listening because your brain understands sound from the inside. If you struggle with pronunciation, shadow minimal sentences with difficult sounds. But do not only repeat individual sounds forever. Put sounds inside real phrases. English pronunciation becomes useful when it lives inside communication. A sound practiced alone is a small exercise. A sound practiced inside a real sentence becomes speaking power if you struggle with confidence. Shadow emotional speech. Choose sentences that sound strong, calm, and clear. Repeat them with confidence. Let your voice practice strength. Sometimes learners speak quietly, not because their English is poor, but because their confidence is weak. Shadowing, strong speech can help your voice become braver. Your voice learns what confidence feels like. This may sound strange, but your voice has memory. If you always speak English with fear, your body remembers fear. If you practice speaking English with calm strength, every day your body begins to remember calm strength. Shadowing allows you to borrow confidence from a speaker until your own confidence becomes stronger. You copy the tone first, then slowly it becomes part of you. Shadowing also helps you build an English identity. When you hear yourself speaking English every day, even in practice, your brain begins to accept that you are an English speaker. This is very important. Many learners see English as something outside them. They think English belongs to teachers, native speakers, YouTubers, or confident people. But when your own voice speaks English daily, your identity changes. English becomes part of you. This identity shift is powerful. A person who says, "I'm trying to learn English," behaves differently from a person who says, "I'm training to become an English speaker." The first person may wait. The second person practices. The first person may feel shy. The second person builds skill. Shadowing helps you become the second person because it makes English active in your daily life. Now let us look at the correct way to practice shadowing in a daily routine. Start by choosing a short audio, not more than 1 or 2 minutes. Listen once without speaking, just to understand the general meaning. Then listen again and choose a small section, maybe 1 sentence or 2 sentences. Play the sentence, pause. Repeat it slowly, play it again. Repeat it with the same rhythm, play it again, repeat it with emotion. Then try to say it without audio. After that, play the original and compare. This process may take time, but it trains deeply after. You can repeat sentence by sentence. Try delayed shadowing. Play the audio and speak just after the speaker. Do not worry if you miss some words. Stay calm and continue. The purpose is to train flow. If you fall behind, stop and return to sentence practice. There is no shame in going back. Strong learners adjust the level. Weak learners force themselves until they quit. Then after several repetitions, try to shadow the whole short audio. Your goal is not perfect imitation. Your goal is smoother connection. Notice how your mouth feels. Notice where you get stuck. Those stuck places are your training points. Maybe one phrase is difficult. Repeat that phrase separately. Maybe one sound is unclear. Practice that sound. Maybe one sentence is too long. Break it into chunks. This is how you train intelligently. Finally, use the phrase in your own speech. This is the step many learners miss. They shadow the speaker, but they never create their own sentences. After shadowing, take one chunk and make it yours. If the speaker says, "I was just about to call," you create your own examples. "I was just about to leave." "I was just about to ask." "I was just about to explain." This transfers the pattern from imitation to creation. Imitation is the beginning, not the end. Shadowing starts with copying. But the goal is your own natural speech. First you copy the phrase, then you understand the pattern, then you use the pattern in new situations. This is how English becomes flexible. You are not memorizing like a robot. You are training patterns that can grow. This is why shadowing and chunk learning work perfectly together. Chunks give you the building blocks. Shadowing gives them sound and movement. Creation gives them life. When you combine these three, your English becomes stronger. You learn the phrase, you hear the phrase, you speak the phrase, and then you use the phrase. That is complete learning. Many learners only complete one part. They learn a phrase but never hear it. Or they hear it but never say it. Or they say it but never use it. Complete training means the phrase travels through the full system: eye, ear, brain, mouth, and real use. Shadowing is the middle bridge that makes this possible. Another important part of shadowing is consistency with one speaker before jumping to many speakers. At the beginning, it can help to shadow one clear voice for several days or weeks. This allows your ear to adapt to one rhythm. Once you become comfortable, you can add more speakers. If you jump between too many accents too quickly, your ear may feel confused. Build stability first, then variety. But eventually you should shadow different voices because real English does not come from one mouth. Different people have different speeds, accents, tones, and styles. Shadowing different speakers makes your ear flexible. You begin to understand English as a living language, not only one teacher's voice. This prepares you for real conversations, where every person sounds different. Shadowing can also help with accents. You do not need to copy every accent perfectly, but shadowing different accents trains your ear to recognize variation. You may shadow American English for 1 week, British English another week, and international English another week. The goal is not to lose yourself. The goal is to understand more people and speak more clearly. A strong English ear is flexible, not narrow. Now let us speak honestly about embarrassment. Many learners feel shy shadowing because they think they sound foolish. They may live with family. They may not want others to hear them. They may feel strange repeating audio aloud. This is normal, but you must not let embarrassment steal your fluency. Find a private place, speak softly if needed. Use headphones, shadow while walking. Shadow in your room, shadow when no one is listening. But do not stay silent forever. Your future fluency is more important than temporary embarrassment. Every fluent speaker has practiced. Every strong voice was once unsure. Every confident speaker has repeated sentences many times. The difference is that they kept going. Do not let the fear of sounding bad prevent you from sounding better. You cannot improve a voice you never use. If you truly cannot speak loudly, whisper shadowing can still help. Whisper the sentence with rhythm. Move your mouth, feel the flow. Silent mouth shadowing can also help. When you are outside, you move your lips slightly and follow the audio. But whenever possible, speak aloud, because voice training needs voice. Your mouth and breath must experience English fully. There is also a mental shadowing method. After practicing aloud, listen again and repeat inside your mind at the same speed as the speaker. This trains internal speech. Internal speech is important because before you speak aloud, your brain often forms sentences silently. If your internal English becomes faster, your spoken English can become faster too. But mental shadowing should not replace aloud practice. It should support it. Shadowing can be used at different times of the day. Morning shadowing wakes up your English brain. Afternoon shadowing refreshes your listening. Night shadowing helps your memory absorb phrases. You do not need long sessions. 10 to 15 minutes with full attention can be enough. The key is daily contact. A little every day is better than a lot once a week. Think of shadowing like watering a plant. If you pour too much water once and then ignore the plant for weeks, it will not grow well, but if you water it regularly, it becomes healthy. Your English voice is the same. It needs regular practice. It needs sound, it needs rhythm. It needs repetition. Shadowing gives it that daily water. After some weeks of shadowing, you may notice small changes. You may speak certain phrases more easily. You may understand connected speech faster. You may pronounce words more smoothly. You may feel less afraid of hearing your own English voice. These changes may be small at first, but there are signs that the method is working. Do not ignore them. Small changes are the roots of big fluency. After some months, the changes become deeper. Your mouth begins to connect words naturally. Your ear begins to recognize phrases quickly. Your brain begins to respond with English chunks instead of translating everything. Your confidence begins to feel more stable. You may still make mistakes, but mistakes no longer stop you. You are becoming active. You are becoming an English speaker. This is why shadowing is not a temporary exercise. It can become a lifelong fluency tool. Even advanced learners can use shadowing to improve accent, rhythm, clarity, presentation, and confidence. Speakers, actors, presenters, and language learners all use imitation in some form, because copying a strong model is one of the fastest ways to improve performance. Shadowing gives you that model every day. But remember, shadowing must be balanced with real speaking. Do not only shadow forever and never speak your own thoughts. Shadowing prepares you, real speaking tests you. After shadowing, try to speak about the same topic in your own words, even for 30 seconds if the audio was about daily habits. Speak about your daily habits. If the audio was about confidence, speak about your confidence. Use some chunks you shadowed. This turns practice into communication. Communication is the final goal. You are not learning English to repeat audio perfectly. You are learning English to understand people, express yourself, share ideas, ask questions, tell stories, and connect with the world. Shadowing is powerful because it prepares you for that. It makes your ear sharper and your mouth ready. But you must eventually use the trained patterns in your own speech. Do not fear your own sentences. They may be simple, they may be imperfect, but they are yours. Shadowing gives you the sound of English, but your thoughts give it purpose. A learner who only copies may sound good in practice, but freeze in real life. A learner who copies and then creates becomes stronger. So always move from shadowing to self-speaking. One simple method is the shadow and speak method. Shadow a short audio for 5 minutes. Then pause everything and speak for 1 minute about the same idea. Do not write, do not translate. Just speak, use any phrase you remember. If you stop, continue. If you make mistakes, continue. This teaches your brain to move from imitation into expression. This is where fluency grows. At first, your 1-minute speech may feel difficult. You may repeat yourself, you may forget words. You may speak slowly, but it's okay. The point is to activate English. Over time, your speech becomes longer, smoother, and more natural. The phrases you shadowed begin to appear in your own speaking. This is one of the most satisfying signs of progress. Another strong practice is question shadowing. Listen to common questions and shadow them until they sound natural. Then answer them without writing. Questions are important because conversation is full of them. If your ear and mouth are comfortable with questions, real conversations become easier. Practice questions like, what do you think about that? How did that happen? What are you going to do? Can you explain that again? Do you know what I mean? These questions train both listening and speaking. You should also shadow answers. Many learners can ask questions, but struggle to explain ideas. Shadowing explanations teaches structure. You learn phrases like the reason is. What I mean is, for example, in my opinion at the same time, and that's why these phrases help you speak longer. They give your thoughts a path. Without structure, speaking feels like walking in darkness. With trained phrases, speaking becomes guided. Shadowing storytelling is also powerful. Stories contain past tense, emotion sequence, and natural connectors. When you shadow stories, you learn how English moves through time. You hear phrases like one day after that at first. Suddenly I realized, and that was when. These patterns help you tell your own stories. Storytelling is one of the best ways to become fluent because it connects memory, emotion, and language. Shadowing opinion speech is also useful. If you want to discuss ideas, you need opinion phrases, shadow sentences like, I think the biggest problem is, I don't completely agree with that. That depends on the situation. From my point of view, and I understand what you're saying. But these phrases make your speaking more confident and mature. They help you enter conversations without freezing. This is how shadowing becomes personalized. You train the type of English you need. If your goal is daily conversation, shadow daily conversation. If your goal is interviews, shadow interview answers. If your goal is storytelling, shadow stories. If your goal is presentations, shadow clear explanations. Your practice should match your future use. Now let us talk about speed again. Many learners are obsessed with speaking fast. They think if I speak fast, people will think I am fluent. But this is dangerous. Fast speech without clarity is not fluency. It is confusion. Shadowing teaches you that natural speed comes from rhythm, not rushing. Native speakers do not speak fast by pushing every word. They speak smoothly by connecting sounds, reducing weak words and stressing important words. When you copy this, your speech becomes naturally faster without becoming messy, so do not force speed. Build smoothness first. Smoothness creates speed later. If your mouth can say a phrase smoothly, speed will increase naturally with repetition. If your mouth cannot say it smoothly, forcing speed will only create bad habits. This is why slow, clear shadowing is valuable. Slow practice creates control. Control creates smoothness. Smoothness creates speed. Another common mistake is shadowing only once. Some learners play a sentence, repeat it one time, and move on. That is not enough. Your mouth needs repetition. Just like your ear, repeat one sentence until it feels easier. Repeat one chunk until it flows. Repeat one phrase until you can say it without looking. This deep repetition builds automatic speech. Do not be afraid to repeat the same sentence 10, 20, or 30 times if needed. That is not weakness, that is training. Professional singers repeat lines. Actors repeat dialogues. Athletes repeat movements. Speakers rehearse presentations. Why should English learners think repetition is shameful? Repetition is how performance improves. Speaking English is a performance skill. Your voice must rehearse before it becomes natural. Shadowing is your rehearsal. The best shadowing sessions often feel simple, but they are deeply effective. One sentence, many repetitions. One phrase, many rhythms. One paragraph, many attempts. The learner who accepts this simple work becomes powerful. The learner who always searches for something new remains entertained but unchanged. Depth creates fluency. You must also learn to enjoy the sound of English. Some learners treat practice like punishment. They sit with tension, repeat with frustration, and judge every mistake. This makes the brain resistant. Instead, approach shadowing like music training. Enjoy the rhythm, play with the sound. Try different emotions, repeat with curiosity. When practice feels alive, your brain remembers better. Joy helps learning. This does not mean every session will feel easy. Some days your mouth will feel heavy. Some days your listening will feel weak. Some days you will feel tired. Continue gently. You do not need to perform perfectly every day. You only need to return. Returning is what builds mastery. A learner who returns daily, even with small effort, will beat a learner who waits for perfect motivation. Shadowing is also a way to measure progress. Record yourself on day 1, then continue practicing. Record yourself again after 30 days. You may be surprised your rhythm may improve. Your pronunciation may become clearer. Your confidence may sound stronger. Sometimes progress is hard to feel day by day, but recordings reveal it. They show you that your effort is working. Do not delete every old recording because you feel embarrassed. Keep some of them as proof of your journey. One day, you will listen back and realize how far you have come. That moment will give you strength. It will remind you that fluency is built through courage, not perfection. Now understand this deeply. Shadowing is not magic. If you only do it with your mouth, the mind must also be involved. You must know why you are repeating. You must notice the patterns. You must feel the meaning. You must connect the phrase to real life. If you do this, shadowing becomes one of the most powerful tools in your English journey. If you repeat without attention, it becomes noise. Attention turns repetition into transformation. This is why the English ear method uses shadowing. After listening chunks, rhythm and repetition. Each chapter prepared you for this. Chapter by chapter, your ear has learned that real English is different from textbook English. Your brain has learned to reduce translation. Your listening has learned to catch chunks. Your ear has learned the hidden music of English. Your practice has learned the power of repetition. Now shadowing brings all of that together. It is where the method becomes active. When you shadow, you're practicing everything at once. You hear real English, you understand meaning directly. You recognize chunks, you follow rhythm. You repeat through repetition. You connect ear to mouth. This is why shadowing is the bridge. Without it, listening may stay passive. With it, listening becomes speaking power. Imagine a bridge between two lands. On one side is understanding. On the other side is speaking. Many learners live on the understanding side. They can understand lessons, read books, and watch videos, but they cannot cross to the speaking side because the bridge is weak. Shadowing builds the bridge plank by plank. Every repeated phrase is one plank. Every copied rhythm is one plank. Every recorded practice is one plank. Every daily session is one plank. Eventually, the bridge becomes strong enough for your English to cross. This is the moment when your learning starts to feel different. You are no longer only collecting English. You are activating it. English stops being something you only recognize, and it becomes something you can produce. Your mouth begins to trust the sounds. Your ear begins to guide your voice. Your brain begins to think in phrases. Your confidence begins to rise because you are no longer waiting silently for fluency. You are building it with your own voice. At the end of this chapter, remember this golden truth. The English you only hear may help you understand, but the English you hear and repeat becomes part of you. Shadowing is how borrowed English becomes your English. It is how the speaker's rhythm trains your rhythm. It is how the speaker's confidence wakes up your confidence. It is how your ear teaches your mouth to move. Do not listen silently forever. Do not let English stay trapped inside your mind. Open your mouth, repeat the sounds. Copy the rhythm, feel the meaning. Train your voice, let your ear and mouth become partners. Let English move through you, not only into you one day. After enough shadowing, you will hear yourself speak a sentence naturally, and it will surprise you. You will wonder, where did that come from? It came from the phrases you repeated. It came from the rhythms you copied. It came from the daily practice. Nobody saw it. Came from the bridge you built between your ear and your mouth. That is the power of shadowing. It turns listening into speaking. It turns sound into confidence. It turns practice into fluency. And if you stay consistent, it will help you stop translating. Understand faster, speak smoother. And finally, feel that English is not only something you study. English is something your voice can carry. Chapter 7, The Daily English Ear Routine. The most powerful method in the world will not change your English if it only stays inside your mind as an idea. You can understand every secret in this book. You can agree with every chapter. You can feel motivated by every sentence. But if you do not turn this method into a daily routine, your ear will remain the same. Knowledge gives you direction, but routine gives you transformation. A learner who knows what to do, but does not practice will stay stuck. A learner who practices one small method every day will eventually pass. The learner who only collects advice. This is where many English learners fail. They do not fail because they are not intelligent. They fail because their learning has no system. One day they watch a grammar video. The next day they listen to a podcast. Then they memorize random vocabulary. Then they stop for 3 days. Then they return with guilt. Then they search for a new method. Then they feel motivated again. Then life becomes busy and the cycle repeats. This kind of learning creates movement, but not progress. It makes you feel like you are doing something, but your English ear does not. Receive consistent training. Your ear needs rhythm, not random effort. Your brain needs repeated signals, not occasional motivation. Your confidence needs proof, not only hope. That proof comes from daily training. Even a small routine repeated every day becomes powerful because it teaches your brain that English is not a temporary activity. English becomes part of your life. It becomes something your ear expects, your mouth practices, and your mind begins to trust. The English ear method is not asking you to spend your whole day studying. It is asking you to train with focus. Many learners think they need 5 hours a day to improve, and because they cannot give 5 hours, they give nothing. This is a dangerous mistake. You do not need perfect time. You need consistent time. 15 minutes every day with deep attention can change your listening. More than 3 hours once a week with a distracted mind. A strong English ear is built through small, daily contact, not one giant effort, but repeated contact, not panic practice before an exam, but calm practice every day. Not random videos, but focused listening. Not passive watching, but active training. Your routine must be simple enough to repeat, but powerful enough to create change. If your routine is too complicated, you will quit. If it is too easy and passive, you will not grow. The best routine is clear, short, repeatable, and deep. The first part of your daily routine is pure listening. Pure listening means you listen without subtitles. First, you give your ear the first chance. This is very important because many learners immediately turn on subtitles, and when they do that, their eyes become strong while their ears remain weak. Subtitles are useful later, but they should not be the first support. If you always give your eyes the answer before your ear struggles, your listening muscle will not grow. When you begin pure listening, do not demand perfection. Your goal is not to understand every word. Your goal is to stay calm while English is moving. This is a skill many learners become tense. The moment they miss one word, their mind says, I missed it. I failed. I cannot understand. Then they stop listening to the next sentence because they are still angry about the previous one. This is how panic destroys listening. Pure listening trains you to stay present. Even if you miss a word, you continue. Even if you miss a sentence, you continue. You train your brain to follow the flow. Instead of freezing, choose a short audio. Not 10 minutes, not 30 minutes. Not a full movie scene. Start with 1 minute or 2 minutes. This is enough if you use it deeply. A short audio allows you to repeat, check, shadow, and master it. Long audio often makes learners feel productive, but they miss too much and train too little. A short audio gives your ear a clear target. It says, this is what we are training today. Listen once without subtitles. Ask yourself only one question. What is the main idea? Do not ask, did I catch every word? Do not punish yourself for missing details. Just catch the topic. Maybe the speaker is talking about confidence. Maybe they are explaining a problem. Maybe they are telling a story. Maybe they are giving advice. The first listening is for direction, not perfection. Then listen again without subtitles. This time try to catch familiar chunks. Maybe you hear, I think the problem is. To be honest at the same time. I don't know what I mean is, or that makes sense. Catch whatever you can. Every chunk you recognize is a victory. Do not ignore small victories. Small victories are how confidence grows. A learner who celebrates recognized chunks will continue. A learner who only notices missed words will quit. The second part of the routine is subtitle checking. This does not mean depending on subtitles. It means using subtitles as a mirror. After your ear has tried, now your eyes can help read the transcript or subtitles and compare what you heard with what was actually said. This is one of the most powerful moments in listening training because it reveals your real weakness. Sometimes you missed a sentence because you did not know the vocabulary. That means you need to learn the word or phrase. Sometimes you knew every word, but you did not recognize the sound. That means your problem is not vocabulary. It is spoken English recognition. Sometimes the words connected. Sometimes the sound became weak. Sometimes the speaker used a reduction. Sometimes the stress was different from what you expected. This checking stage tells you exactly what to train. Do not just read the subtitles and move on. Look for the reason you missed the sound. Ask, was it too fast or was it connected? Ask, did the speaker reduce a word? Ask, did I know the phrase but fail to hear it? Ask, was my brain trying to translate? These questions turn confusion into knowledge. Without checking, you may keep making the same mistake every day. With checking, every mistake becomes a lesson. For example, you may hear a sentence and miss the phrase, I was supposed to, when you check the subtitle. You realize you know all these words, but the spoken form sounded connected and reduced. Now you have found a training target. You do not need to feel ashamed. You need to repeat that phrase until your ear recognizes it. This is how serious learners improve. They do not say, I am bad at listening. They say, this is the pattern my ear needs today. The third part of the routine is focused repetition. After checking, return to the audio and listen again. This time your ear is not blind. It knows what to listen for. You will be surprised how many words become clearer after your eyes show your ear the answer. This is not cheating, this is training. Your eyes help your ear notice the sound, then your ear practices recognizing it without help. Listen to the difficult sentence several times. Do not rush if the sentence is too long. Break it into chunks, listen to the first chunk. Repeat it, listen again. Repeat again, then add the next chunk. Your goal is to make the sound familiar. The sound that was unclear must become recognizable. The phrase that disappeared must become catchable. The rhythm that confused you must become normal. This is where many learners quit too early. They listen again once or twice and say, still difficult. But ear training sometimes needs 10 or 20 repetitions. That is not failure, that is normal. Your brain is building a new sound connection. Give it time. Every repetition makes the path clearer. Every repetition tells your brain, this sound has meaning over time. The brain starts recognizing it faster. The fourth part of the routine is shadowing. After listening and checking, you must activate the audio with your mouth. Listening trains recognition, but shadowing trains response. If you only listen, English may remain inside your ear. If you shadow, English enters your voice. This is the bridge between understanding and speaking. Take one short sentence and repeat after the speaker. Copy the rhythm, copy the stress. Copy the connection, copy the emotion. Do not speak like you are reading. Speak like you are hearing. Let your mouth follow the ear. If the speaker says the sentence smoothly, do not break it into separate words. If the speaker stresses one word, stress it. If the speaker pauses, pause. If the speaker sounds serious, sound serious. This kind of imitation trains your whole English system. At first, you may sound slow or unnatural. That is fine, your mouth is learning. Do not expect your voice to become smooth immediately. You are training muscles that may have never moved this way before. English has different sound patterns. From your first language, your mouth needs time to adapt. Shadowing every day gives it that time. The fifth part of the routine is chunk collection. Every day, collect 3 useful chunks from your audio. Not 20, not 50, just 3. Many learners collect too much and use nothing. 3 chunks learned deeply are better than 30 chunks forgotten quickly. Choose phrases that are useful in real conversation. Choose phrases you can imagine yourself using. Choose phrases that carry meaning, emotion, or response. For example, you may collect, I see what you mean. That's not what I expected. And let me think about it. These chunks are valuable because they are practical. After collecting them, do not just write them. Say them, listen to them, shadow them, use them in your own examples. Make them part of your speaking memory. A chunk is not truly yours until you can use it. If you only write it in a notebook, it belongs to the notebook. If you repeat it with your voice, it begins to belong to your mouth. If you use it in your own sentence, it begins to belong to your brain. If you use it in real conversation, it becomes part of your English identity. So after collecting a chunk, create your own examples if the chunk is. It depends on say. It depends on the situation. It depends on the weather. It depends on how much time we have. If the chunk is I was about to say, I was about to leave, I was about to call you, I was about to explain that. This is how one chunk becomes many sentences. This is how your speaking grows without memorizing grammar rules separately. The sixth part of the routine is meaning practice. This is where you train your brain to stop translating. Take one phrase and feel the meaning directly. If you hear "I'm running late," do not translate it. Imagine someone hurrying, checking the time and arriving late. If you hear "that makes sense," imagine someone understanding an idea. If you hear "I'm not sure," feel uncertainty. Meaning must become faster than translation. This practice may look simple, but it is powerful because it builds direct English understanding. Your brain has a habit of translating because that is how it feels safe. But the more you connect English sound with meaning directly, the weaker translation becomes. You are teaching your brain that English does not need to pass through another language before it becomes clear. The seventh part of the routine is self-speaking. This is where you stop only copying and begin creating. After listening, checking, repeating, shadowing, and collecting chunks, speak for 1 minute about the same topic. In your own words, do not write first. Do not translate first, just speak. It may be slow, it may be imperfect. It may be simple, that is okay. The goal is to activate English. If the audio was about confidence, speak about your confidence. If it was about daily habits, speak about your daily habits. If it was about learning English, speak about your English journey. Use 1 or 2 chunks from the audio. This connects listening input with speaking output. This is how your English becomes alive. Many learners keep English trapped inside input. They listen, read, watch, and understand, but they never produce enough. Then they wonder why speaking is still hard. Speaking becomes easier when you give your brain daily output practice. Even 1 minute matters. 1 minute every day becomes 30 minutes a month. 30 minutes of active speaking is far more powerful than 0 minutes of perfect silence. Do not judge your 1 minute speaking harshly. Record it sometimes, but do not use the recording to attack yourself. Use it to notice progress. Maybe today you used 1 chunk naturally. That is progress. Maybe your rhythm was smoother. That is progress. Maybe you paused less than yesterday. That is progress. Fluency grows when you keep returning, not when you speak perfectly from the beginning. Now, let us put the daily routine together in a simple flow. First, listen without subtitles and catch the main idea. Second, listen again and catch chunks. Third, check subtitles and find missed sounds. Fourth, repeat the difficult sentences. Fifth, shadow the speaker. Sixth, collect 3 chunks. Seventh, speak for 1 minute using those chunks. This routine trains your ear, your brain, and your mouth together. The beauty of this routine is that it does not need to be long. If you are busy, do it in 15 minutes. If you have more time, do it in 30 minutes. If you are serious, repeat the same audio for several days and go deeper each time. The routine can expand or shrink, but the method stays the same. Listen, check, repeat, shadow, collect. Feel meaning and speak. Consistency is more important than intensity. A learner who practices 15 minutes every day for 6 months will usually beat a learner who practices 3 hours once in a while. Why? Because the brain changes through repeated contact. Daily practice keeps English warm inside your mind. If you leave English for many days, the connection becomes cold, and every return feels like starting again. Routine keeps the connection alive. You must also protect your routine from perfectionism. Some days you will not have energy. Some days you will be busy. Some days your listening will feel weak. Some days you will feel bored. Do not quit because the session is not perfect. On hard days, do a smaller version. Listen for 5 minutes, shadow 3 sentences. Collect 1 chunk, speak for 30 seconds. A small routine completed is better than a perfect routine skipped. This is important because many learners destroy their progress with all or nothing thinking. They say, if I cannot study properly today, I will do nothing. This is how habits die. Strong learners do not think this way. They say, even if I cannot do everything, I will keep the chain alive. Keeping the chain alive matters. It tells your brain, I am still an English learner. I still train. I do not disappear. Your routine must become part of your identity. Do not say, I will practice when I feel motivated. Say, I am the kind of person who trains my English ear every day. Motivation is emotional. Identity is stronger when English practice becomes part of who you are. You do not need to argue with yourself every day. You simply return to the routine because that is what you do. But identity is built through action. You cannot call yourself a serious learner while avoiding practice. You become serious by doing serious things repeatedly. Every time you complete your daily routine, you cast a vote for your new identity. You tell your brain, this is who I am becoming. One day does not change everything, but many days change the way you see yourself. The English ear method is also about patience. You may not notice huge change in 3 days. Do not panic, your ear is growing quietly. The brain often improves before you feel it. It is collecting patterns, storing sounds, recognizing chunks, and building speed under the surface. Then one day, something becomes clear that was not clear before. That moment feels sudden, but it was built by many small practices. This is how growth works. Roots grow before the tree becomes visible. Your daily routine is growing roots. Every repeated audio is a root. Every shadowed sentence is a root. Every collected chunk is a root. Every minute of speaking is a root. At first, you may not see much above the ground, but if the roots are strong, the tree will rise. Do not dig up the roots every day to check if they are growing. This is what impatient learners do. They practice for 2 days and ask, "Am I fluent now?" They listen for 1 week and ask, "Why do I still miss words?" They shadow for 10 minutes and ask, "Why do I still sound different?" This impatience creates frustration. Trust the process, train daily. Measure progress after weeks and months, not after every single session. A good way to measure progress is to return to old audio. Choose an audio that feels difficult today. Save it, train with your routine. After 2 weeks, listen again. After 1 month, listen again. You may notice that it feels easier. This gives you proof sometimes you do not feel progress because you keep choosing harder material. Returning to old material shows you how far your ear has come. Another way to measure progress is to count recognized chunks. In the beginning, you may catch only a few. After daily training, you will catch more. You will start hearing phrases everywhere. I see what you mean at the same time. The thing is to be honest. I was about to, that's why it depends. These phrases will begin to jump out of the audio. This is a sign that your English ear is waking up. Another sign of progress is reduced panic. Maybe you still miss words, but you no longer freeze. That is progress. Maybe you do not understand everything, but you can follow the main idea. That is progress. Maybe fast English still challenges you, but it does not scare you like before. That is progress. Confidence is not only understanding. More confidence is staying calmer while learning. This matters because listening confidence changes everything. When you are calm, your brain can process more. When you panic, your brain shuts down. The daily routine trains calmness through familiarity. It tells your mind we have a method. We know what to do. Missing words is not the end. This calmness helps you stay with English longer, and the longer you stay, the more you understand. You must also create a listening environment that supports your routine. Do not always practice with noisy distractions. Give your ear focus time. Use headphones if possible. Choose a quiet place, sit or walk with attention. Treat the routine like training, not background noise. English deserves your presence because your brain learns better when your attention is present. At the same time, you can use background listening for extra exposure while walking, cleaning, or relaxing. Play English you have already studied. This is important. Background listening works best with familiar audio. If the audio is completely new and difficult, your mind may ignore it, but if you already trained it, background listening strengthens the patterns. It keeps the sound alive in your brain. So use 2 types of listening. Focus listening for training. Background listening for reinforcement. Focus listening is where you improve. Background listening is where you stay connected. Together they create a strong English environment. Even if you live in a place where people do not speak English, around you you can build your own English atmosphere. Through repeated sound, your phone can become your classroom, but only if you use it wisely. Many learners use their phones to scroll for hours, but say they have no time for English. The truth is not always lack of time. Sometimes it is lack of control. Give English a fixed place in your day. Morning after waking, night before sleep. During a walk after lunch. Before work, choose a time and protect it. Do not wait for a perfect mood. The routine must be stronger than mood. Some days you will feel excited. Some days you will feel lazy. Some days you will feel tired. The routine does not ask your mood for permission. It only asks for a small action. Press play, listen. Repeat, shadow, speak. That is how discipline is built. But discipline should not feel like self-punishment. Make your routine enjoyable. Choose topics you care about. If you like personal growth, listen to Personal Growth English. If you like stories, listen to stories. If you like business, listen to Business English. If you like travel, listen to Travel English. Interest gives energy to attention. When the topic matters to you, your brain listens better still. Do not choose only entertainment. Choose useful English. The best content is interesting and practical. It gives your ear real sound. and your mouth real phrases. Your goal is not only to enjoy English, your goal is to become stronger in English. Enjoyment helps you continue, but training gives you results. You should also balance easy, medium, and difficult listening. Easy listening builds confidence. Medium listening builds growth. Difficult listening builds strength when used carefully. If everything is easy, you may feel comfortable but not improve deeply. If everything is difficult, you may feel defeated. The daily routine should mostly use medium material, with some easy review and some difficult challenge. Easy review is important because it reminds your brain that you can understand English. Many learners only attack themselves with difficult content, and their confidence becomes weak. Listen sometimes to audio you understand well. Shadow it smoothly, feel your progress. Confidence needs success. Then return to challenging audio with more strength. Difficult content should be used like heavy weight. In the gym, not all day. Not without control, use short pieces. Repeat deeply, do not judge yourself if you miss a lot. Difficult audio shows you future training areas. It is not proof that you are bad. It is proof that there are more patterns to learn. Another important part of your routine is review. Do not collect chunks and forget them. Review yesterday's chunks before learning new ones. Review last week's audio, review difficult phrases. Review is what turns short-term learning into long-term ability. Without review, your notebook becomes a graveyard of forgotten English. With review, your notebook becomes a garden that keeps growing. Review does not have to be long. Take 3 old chunks and say them aloud. Use them in new sentences. Listen to an old audio once. Shadow a paragraph you practiced before. These small review moments strengthen memory. The brain keeps what it meets again. If you want English to stay, bring it back repeatedly. You can also create a personal phrase bank. This is not a normal vocabulary list. A phrase bank is a collection of useful chunks you want to understand and use. Write phrases, not single words. Right, I'm looking forward to it. Not only forward, right? That's not what I meant. Not only meant right. I have no idea. Not only idea. Phrases are closer to real speaking than isolated words. Do not let the phrase bank become too big and dead. Keep it alive by speaking from it every day. Choose a few phrases and use them in your self-speaking. The phrase bank should feed your mouth, not only decorate your notebook. If a phrase never enters your voice, it is not fully learned. Your routine should also include days of lighter practice. This prevents burnout. Some learners start with extreme energy and practice too much, then quit. Do not burn yourself. Build a routine you can continue. English fluency is not a one-week challenge. It is a long journey. The best routine is the one you can repeat for months. Consistency beats intensity. If you miss a day, do not destroy yourself with guilt. Return the next day. Many learners miss one day and then disappear for weeks because guilt becomes heavy. Do not let one missed day become a broken identity. A serious learner is not someone who never misses. Serious learner is someone who returns quickly. Return without drama. Press play again. Continue. This mindset protects your long-term growth. Perfectionism says, I missed a day. I failed. Discipline says, I missed a day. I returned today. Choose discipline. Choose return. Choose continuation. English does not require a perfect learner. It requires a consistent learner. Now imagine your daily routine after 30 days. You have listened to many short audios. You have repeated difficult sentences. You have shadowed real rhythm. You have collected useful chunks. You have spoken for 1 minute many times. Your ear is not the same. Your mouth is not the same. Your confidence is not the same. Maybe you are not fluent yet, but you are no longer stuck in the same way. You have movement. You have a method. You have proof after 90 days. Your brain begins to expect English differently. You hear common phrases faster. You recognize reductions more easily. You panic less. You can shadow more smoothly. Your self-speaking becomes longer. Your translation habit becomes weaker because English has entered your mind more directly. This is not magic. This is routine. After 1 year, if you truly stay consistent, your English identity can transform. You may still learn. You may still make mistakes, but you will not feel like the same learner who is afraid of fast English. Your ear will have thousands of repeated contacts with real sound. Your mouth will have hundreds of shadowing sessions. Your brain will know many chunks. Your confidence will be built on practice, not hope. This is why the final chapter of this book is about routine, because the method becomes real only when it becomes daily. A book can inspire you, but your routine will build you. A lesson can show you the road, but your routine makes you walk. A title can attract you, but your daily training transforms you. The English ear method is not something you read once and leave. It is something you practice until your ear changes. From today, make a simple promise. I will not only learn English with my eyes. I will train my ear. I will not only understand lessons. I will prepare for real English. I will not only collect vocabulary. I will collect chunks. I will not only listen once. I will repeat deeply. I will not only stay silent. I will shadow and speak. I will not only wish for fluency. I will build it every day. This promise matters because your English future is created by your daily actions. Every day you are either training your English ear or keeping it weak every day. You are either reducing translation or strengthening it. Every day you are either building confidence or feeding fear. The choice may look small, but small choices repeated over time become a life. Do not wait for someone to give you confidence. Build it with your routine. Do not wait for native speakers to slow down. Train your ear to become faster. Do not wait for English to become easy by itself. Make it familiar through repetition. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Start with what you have: one phone, one sure audio, one focused mind, one voice willing to practice. That is enough to begin at the end of this chapter. Remember this golden truth. Fluency is not built in one emotional moment. Fluency is built in quiet, daily practice. The world may not see you repeating one sentence 10 times. Nobody may clap when you shadow a paragraph. Alone in your room, nobody may notice when you collect 3 chunks before sleeping. But your brain notices, your ear notices. Your mouth notices, your future self will notice. One day you will hear fast English and understand more than before. One day you will answer without translating every word. One day you will recognize chunks instantly. One day you will speak with smoother rhythm. One day you will realize that the small routine you repeated quietly changed everything. That day will not arrive because you wished. It will arrive because you trained. So build your daily English ear routine. Protect it, repeat it, trust it, let it become part of you. Let English enter your ear every day. Move through your brain and come out through your voice. This is how the learner becomes a listener. This is how the listener becomes a speaker. This is how the speaker becomes confident. And this is how fast English finally becomes easy. Now you understand the truth. Fast English is not your enemy. Native speakers are not speaking to defeat you. Your brain is not broken, your memory is not weak, and your English journey is not hopeless. The real problem was simple but hidden. Your ear was never trained for the real sound of English. You learned English with your eyes. You studied words on pages. You watched lessons with subtitles. You understood grammar slowly. But real English does not enter your life through a textbook. Real English enters through sound speed, rhythm chunks, emotion, and natural flow. This is why the English ear method was created. Not to give you another list of grammar rules, not to make you memorize more random vocabulary, and not to tell you to work harder without direction. This method teaches you how to train the doorway through which real English reaches your brain. That doorway is your ear. When your ear becomes stronger, your whole English changes. Listening becomes clearer. Speaking becomes smoother. Pronunciation becomes more natural. Confidence becomes deeper. And slowly the habit of translation becomes weaker because your brain begins to understand English. As English, never forget what you learned in this book. You learn that lesson. English and real English are different. You learn that translation makes you late. In fast conversation, you learn that fluent listeners do not catch every word separately. They hear chunks of meaning. You learn that English has hidden music rhythm, stress linking reductions, and tone. You learn that repetition is not boring. When it is used correctly, repetition is the road from confusion to familiarity. You learn that shadowing connects your ear with your mouth and turns silent understanding into speaking power. And finally, you learn that a daily routine is what transforms a method from an idea into a real skill. So, do not close this book and return to the same old habits. Do not keep saying English is too fast while training your ear too little. Do not keep depending on subtitles forever. Do not keep translating every sentence and then wondering why your listening is slow. Do not collect new videos every day without repeating deeply from today. Become a different kind of learner. Become the learner who listens with focus, repeats with patience, shadows with courage, collects chunks with purpose, and speaks even when the voice is not perfect yet. Your English will not change in one magical night. but it can change through one serious decision. Repeated every day, one short audio. One focus session. One difficult sentence repeated until it opens. One chunk practiced until it becomes natural. One shadowing practice that makes your mouth stronger. 1 minute of self-speaking that teaches your brain to respond without fear. These small actions may look simple, but if you repeat them, they will build a new English ear inside you. There will be days when English still feels fast. There will be days when you miss words. There will be days when your mouth feels slow. But now you know what to do. Missing words does not mean failure. It means your ear has found its next turning point. Confusion does not mean you are weak. It means the sound is still unfamiliar. Difficulty does not mean you should quit. It means you are standing at the edge of growth. Remember this deeply. Fast English becomes easy when it becomes familiar. And English becomes familiar when you stop running away from the same sound and start training it again and again. The sentence that confuses you today can become clear. The phrase that disappears today can become automatic. The speaker who feels too fast today can become understandable, but only if you stay with the process long enough. Your goal is not to become perfect. Your goal is to become present. Present when English is spoken. Present when a real conversation begins. Present when your brain wants to translate, but you choose meaning instead. Present when your ear catches chunks. Present when your mouth responds with courage. This is real fluency, not perfect grammar and silence, but the ability to stay connected with English while it is happening. So from this moment, train your ear like it matters, because it does. Your ear is not just for listening. Your ear is the beginning of your speaking. Your ear teaches your mouth how English moves. Your ear teaches your brain how English feels. Your ear gives confidence to your voice. When your ear becomes stronger, English stops sounding like noise and starts becoming meaning. And when English becomes meaning, you stop feeling like an outsider, looking at the language from far away. You begin to feel that English can belong to you. If this book gave you clarity, do not let that clarity disappear. Start today. Choose one short English audio. Listen without subtitles. Check what you missed. Repeat the difficult lines. Shadow the speaker. Collect 3 useful chunks. Speak for 1 minute, then do it again tomorrow. This is how you build the English ear. This is how you stop translating. This is how you begin to understand fast English with calmness and confidence. And before you leave, make a promise to yourself. In the comments, write, "I will train my English ear." Write it not for the video, but for your own future. Write it as a commitment that you are no longer going to stay stuck in the same listening struggle. Subscribe to CTM English Podcast if you are serious about building real English fluency, because every audiobook here is made to train your mind, your ear, your voice, and your confidence. This was the English Ear Method, published by CTM English Podcast. Train your ear, calm your brain. Stop translating, repeat deeply. Shadow daily, speak with courage. And one day the fast English that once confused you will no longer sound like a wall. It will sound like a road, and you will finally know how to walk on it.